And so I told a buddy about it on Saturday, and he was like kissing my feet today via text. He's like, dude, I threw in money on Saturday. I can't believe this. Like, is it always like this? I'm like, no, settle down. Like, wait like 2 hours and you'll have lost money. So that's how this whole cryptocurrency thing goes.
Not recently.
No, hey, not recently.
Real quick, if you got this part of the video, you've got the live unedited edition. Home Gadget Geeks were 336. It's December 7th. 2017. If you got this video any other time than 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, it means you've caught the recorded version, and that is okay. Hang tight. We're going to get started in 5 minutes or so, just kind of whenever we get going. And if you're watching live, I will tell those folks in the chat room that we are live. If you've never caught a live show, we'd love to have you come out and join us live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central at theaverageguy.tv/live. And we will get started here in just a second. We were talking a little Bitcoin mining, Aaron. I lost $200 in that transaction.
It's only a week. It's only 2 weeks of mining too, which is insanity.
I know it's
only 2 weeks.
And I'm sorry, two weeks of work.
Just the computer
$200.
The computer working.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So you weren't out there with the shovel and the pickaxe.
No. The computer's just doing stuff while you're out doing other stuff. So it's not too bad.
You go to sleep, making you money. You wake up, makes you money. Go to work, making you money.
Now, are people hacking into your computer? So your computer is doing the mining and then the hackers come in? Or like, how does this work?
So NiceHash is the repository for it all. So we would be generating the hashes here locally, right? So those GPUs are generating these hashes and sending them back up. Then credit is given to your account. And when you get a certain amount of money, it goes into a wallet, right? So about every $10, it would deposit into the wallet. And that's what got hacked at NiceHash is they cleared out all the miners' wallets. They
$60 million worth.
Yeah, they got in through a back door and then they cleared out all the miners' wallets.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but think about it. There's a lot of people like me and a lot of people like Mike. That takes a lot of people to get to $60 million when you're doing it $100 or $200 or $300 at a time, right?
Right.
So a lot of folks got affected. What was interesting is there's other services like this, and both of them just got smashed after because all the miners needed another place to go, right? To get like my GPUs are doing nothing. I have to do something with them. So MinerGate and WinMiner just got crushed yesterday.
They refer to it as the group hug of death. Everyone's like, hey, we love you now. We're going to be your friend. And it just killed them because they weren't ready to scale that fast.
Yeah. So it was, let's see, Peter's telling me everything sounds good. Thank you, Peter. Thanks for being proactive on that on Spreaker. Welcome, Spreaker listeners, if you're listening live on the mobile apps. So it's been an adventurous week in cryptocurrency. Now, $200, you shouldn't do cryptocurrency if you can't lose some of the money you put in. It's a little bit like gambling, right? You just have to kind of accept what's going there. I think we may see it back again at some point. You know, they may make it right. There's so much money in Bitcoin right now that they may turn their services back on and be able to generate enough profit to pay everybody else back in months or whatever. So, but it's interesting. Right, it's the blockchain will be the future of the way we do transactions for everything.
Right.
So we're gonna have some rough roads. This is like I equate it to like Windows 95 era. Like it worked, but it had all kinds of problems and drivers didn't work, and there were all kind of security holes in it, and people were hacking it and beating on it. It was the beginning of viruses, right? Windows 95, big, cryptocurrency. That they equal each other right now. It'll be a decade before, the good thing about the blockchain is it's completely developable, right? So as they learn things, they can update the code and fork it and put security changes in and make it better. So as the more we hack on it, the harder we test it, the better it will be in the future. So
where does one learn to become a hacker?
Russia, maybe.
Because I figure I'm in the wrong end of the business.
No.
If I knew how to hack stuff, I'd be live in
it's a dark world.
Bermuda right now.
It's a dark world. Mike was saying, so this address that took the $60 million is public, right? This is the thing about the blockchain is everything is public. So that address is public. So everybody, all the exchanges, everybody's just flagged that address and said, well, good luck doing anything with that money. We're not going to trade it.
Because the Bitcoin is tied to that address?
Yeah, it's tied to that address. And there's no way of There's no way of changing it, right? That's the beauty, or that's the drawback to the blockchain, is everything's traceable and trackable that way. We don't know who.
The whole point of Bitcoin, though, was supposed to be that it's like completely anonymous.
Nobody knows who it is, but they know what the dollars are. The transactions.
So whatever's behind the facade is nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But if the facade is the thing that has to interact with,
exactly, that's a perfect way to put it.
The Bitcoin banks and the Bitcoin people.
Yeah,
I got to do some reading on Bitcoin.
It's super interesting, super interesting. Just don't fixate on Bitcoin too much, because I don't think Bitcoin is the future. The blockchain is definitely, the technology behind it is definitely the future in the way we do digital and value transactions. Bitcoin's a little unscalable, at this point, and I don't think it will grow. I mean, it's got a great run right now, but it takes 22 hours to complete a transaction. So like that's not scalable. It's also not built to handle these kinds of transactions, where there are new blockchains that are being created to do that.
They could bring down the difficulty, though, and bring that transaction down. They're just going to, that shortens the period. They're going to run out of those mining rewards faster. Right. So you got to, the whole point of increasing difficulty is that they don't run out of these mining rewards in the next 10 years. You have a 10-year plan to keep rewarding your miners. So we'll see what they do.
The technology, though, is home technology, right? We mine this stuff at home. This is the Home Gadget Geeks fit. Is like, you could do this. You could CPU mine. So it's pretty interesting. All right.
Jim, Hannah texted me from upstairs and said, "Hey, just order another extra large shirt. I already love this one because it fits her." And she sent me, actually, she won't let me show it.
Quick tell the story, Mike. Go back and tell the story of your shirt.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was before we went live. So I ordered a Home Gadget Geek shirt, and I ordered a large, and we washed it, and for some reason it just shrunk up. Like, I just went upstairs to throw it on before the show, and my wife just laughed at me. It looked like it was a shirt from my son. It was like all tight on me. And so I was like, oh man, maybe I'll return it. So I get down here and she just texts me saying, "Hey, go ahead and just order yourself an extra large, and I'll keep this one because it's perfect." So it's got a real cute picture too.
Awesome.
Sent me,
That Hannah.
She's
pretty spectacular.
I said, one step ahead of you.
Aaron, I have your notes from the email, and we'll just work our way down.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Click, 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 click.
Jim, can you did you invite me to those?
Oh, you wanna see them?
That'd be
Mike, I should have your email address. I can CC you on that stuff too.
That would be.
He's never here.
Oh wow! I was supposed to say, that'd be awesome. And just like, nah, let's not include this guy.
Let's not get Uyghur in the mix here. No, those should be shared with you. It's super simple for me to do it. So, all right, big group out tonight. So Ken, good to see you. Ken, Mark, Rennie, Peter, other Jim, Drashna, Lapta, there we go. Good to see you out. And let me kick this thing off. Yeah, we're right at the top of the hour. All right, Aaron, again, thanks for coming out. So great to have you.
Happy to be here, you guys.
Aaron, are you all set for Christmas? Are you an early Christmas gift buyer? Last minute? What do you do? What's your run?
I have a brainwave about early November, and I see a couple of things. I'm like, oh, like my husband this year, I bought his gifts in November because I thought of things that he would really like and I picked them up. Everybody else, it's like, we were just talking about it tonight at dinner. I'm like, do you have any idea? Like, we're running out of shopping days and like online ordering days too. So
I know there's that window tightens up, and we were doing a family chat. We do like Secret Santa family exchange. There's 9 of us now. So everybody gets somebody's name, and then you fill their stocking with candy and all that other stuff. And that's our Secret Santa. And we've been so behind. We haven't picked names yet. So they're doing it on Messenger right now as we're talking. I'm hearing ding, ding, ding. And they're sending in, my wife said, "It's okay, send in 2 that you want and I'll pick one, and it's going to be complicated and it's going to be ringing all night long." So that's how we do it at the Collison house. And then Christmas is now with the kids. Christmas, which it's in shifts. right? So it's
Right.
a little bit in the morning, and then some folks come over, and we have another one, and then some folks more come, and we do another one. So it's like Christmas all day. But I'm doing a new Christmas breakfast. We typically do cinnamon rolls for Christmas morning. That's what we make. But this year, I'm going to make the cinnamon rolls early, slice them in half, dip them in egg, French toast.
Yes. Oh my God.
You're like actually a really good chef. I'm coming to learn. I'm coming over to your house for more meals because the bacon wrapped turkey at Thanksgiving and now these cinnamon rolls. Yeah, I'm telling you, the pictures, don't get on Facebook because it'll make you your mouth will water.
Oh my God, I'm not even friends with Jim on Facebook, or you Mike, for that matter.
I know. We got to change that.
Excuse me a second.
Yeah, right. And you should just scroll straight to Thanksgiving and look at your turkey.
This year, I did the bacon wrap a little bit different, and then I took tinfoil. So I spread tinfoil out, and then we took 3 pounds of bacon and weaved them into 2 1.5 pound mats. So that think of it like a weaved, mat on the tinfoil. So I had 2 of these, and then you just take the tinfoil and lay the tinfoil over the top of the turkey and peel it back, and it just lays. Oh God, it was so good.
It looked amazing.
It was just as delicious and then I did something different. Here's a little dad trick for you for Thanksgiving.
A dad trick.
Here's a dad trick. So I cut up all the turkey, and you get the really good breast meat parts, and even the really good legs. Those usually go first. But I buried those on the tray and put kind of the other meats on top. So as people were going around, they were grabbing that stuff first. So the leftovers, we had all the best pieces.
You mind hacked everyone
for the leftovers.
That's awesome.
It was so good. It was so good. So I remember a couple days later going and peeling up grab the Tupperware, open that thing up, and there was still a big single piece of white breast meat. That was that was Thanksgiving Day quality.
And that's a win. That's a win.
Now I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
I know. Sorry. That's how to keep leftovers when you have a bunch of kids in the house. That's how you get that done. So it was super good. I used my iGrill thermometer to track the temperature of the bird through the whole thing. It goes via Bluetooth to my phone in the house,
That's
and so you can kind of monitor the turkey all day. What do you have?
Have you guys heard of this one? This just came into my inbox. Meter?
No.
Meter? Get it?
Well, pull it out.
It measures. So it comes actually in.
Start the show and talk.
No.
Okay.
I don't know much about it.
This is the
It literally
Patreon
just
extra.
landed on my desk.
Okay.
I'll put it away for now.
No. Keep
pull it out. Pull it out. This is a Patreon.
If anybody's just tuning in now, they are getting the audio of this and going, "What?"
Yeah, right.
So it's a wireless meat thermometer in a charging base. Wait here.
Oh, that's the base. That's not the packaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also the packaging. I haven't unpacked it yet, but the base thing is in. Okay, this is.
We're doing an unboxing.
So the base is in there, and then it's really cute packaging. Actually, there's a little. This must be the cabling.
Yeah.
I have not even
battery.
Yet. And then so you put it in here, charge it, and then that's the thermometer, totally wireless, like the size of a pen.
Oh, I'm in.
I guess you stick it in the meat, leave it in, and then it sends alerts to your smartphone.
So one of Jim's most popular episodes actually is always the grill show. Like if you told him, hey, this guy over here, our community loves the grilling stuff. For some reason, they just jump on it. So that would go over very well.
Well, we can talk about that another time then once I've had a chance to use it.
Let us know, because that sounds...
I'll send you my bacon.
Because I tried the iGrill and it was, I'm stalking you right now on Facebook. So.
So you were going to say you tried the iGrill and...
It was okay. It was fine for what it does. But the cord that comes with it, and you got to kind of have it in the oven and then snaking out of the oven, and then...
It's dirty.
Yeah, and it gets really dirty. It's hard to wind up. I find it gets really badly tangled and stuff. And I think we've closed it in the drawer enough times that I have my doubts whether it would still work. So,
All right on. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. Because if you use it in the oven, I'm thinking of the smoker where they have the little hole that you stick that through, and it doesn't flap on the side of a smoker. But on a grill, you're going to have to close it in the door. So it's going to get pinched all the time. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yep. See, now you got to be a Patreon subscriber to be able to get to that part of the show.
There you go.
That's why the pre and the post are what they are. So, all right, Aaron, hold tight. Let me kick this thing off, and we'll get going here. 1 second. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 336, recorded on December 7th. By the way, happy birthday, Home Gadget Geeks. I think our 7th anniversary, 2017. Here at Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a beautiful, actually super cold. Mike, welcome back, by the way, but was it freezing today or what?
I went outside to adjust an outdoor security camera, and I couldn't last more than 10 minutes. My hands, I was trying to manipulate. I was trying to actually strip and redo an Ethernet cable, and I finally gave up. I was like, my hands are frozen. It was like 13 degrees.
We've had such a mild fall that I just think we're wusses.
It smacked us in the face. We were not ready for it. That's
Holy
for sure.
cow! It was freezing this morning, but
it'll warm up.
It'll warm up. Global warming will do well for us. So we post a show with world class show notes each week, and this week's show notes are going to be really good because Erin's here. And whenever Erin's here, she does really good show notes. So you want to head out there and grab those as well. Don't forget to join us on our mobile app as well. You can we've made that available to you over at homegadgetgeeks.com. Both iPhone and Android available to you. Just big fat buttons you can push and whatever on device you're on. The best way to really listen to the show live, you can get it there, homegadgetgeeks.com. We thank LastPass for their sponsorship of that app. We do want to thank Larry and Kat from Ghost Browser last week. Don't forget, we're doing the December Ghost Browser Challenge. So if you're hanging out with me, trying to use Ghost Browser for the entire month, which is what I'm trying to do, head out to last week's show, 335, HGG335 at theaverageguy.tv. They did a nice job. We want to thank them for coming on. By the way, the post show for that, a bunch of talk. I know some of you don't like our Bitcoin conversation or our blockchain conversation. And then I keep getting emails that like, talk more about it, right? So Larry and I talked a bunch about using Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but the blockchain, some of the blockchain offerings last week for Ghost Browser. So only available in the post show and only available to our Patreon subscribers. So head out to theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. I think that'll get you there, or click on the Patreon link at the site. $1 gets you in, $1 a month, and you get pre and post show that way if you want to get involved. Speaking of that, Erin's back with us today. Erin Lawrence, the Canadian gadget blogger extraordinaire. Erin, welcome back. And you did a little preview of something we might cover later, only going to be in the Patreon. But Erin, welcome.
Hello. Thanks, you guys. I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, good to have you. And we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, but kind of like, what's your favorite gadget right now? What are you enjoying the most personally? Not what you're working for, but what are you enjoying the most?
In all honesty, it has to be the Samsung Frame TV. I had a chance to have one installed professionally in my house for about a month, and I think I cried when they came to take it away. It's an amazing product. It's one I would like to add into my own home.
Nice.
We can get into some of the details, but
it's on the list, right? So hold tight for 1 second.
Yes.
Hold tight for 1 second. We'll get that talked about. Well, I have been following your YouTube channel, and I get the automatic alerts. So every time you post something, a little toast notification pops out. Let me encourage others to do that as well. If I want to track you down on Facebook, I assume there's a site where I can get all that stuff. Where do I go to find your stuff? Because we should definitely be following you.
Yes, definitely. If you hit up, Tech Gadgets Canada, if you go on Facebook and search, it's weird to search on Facebook sometimes, but Tech Gadgets Canada, all one word, that should come up, or facebook.com/Tech Gadgets Canada. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/Erin Lawrence TV, all one word.
Awesome. Before we get started, a quick little story on our t-shirts. By the way, if you go to theaverageguy.tv/t-shirt, those are available now. Uyghur he bought one and he tried to put it on. Mike, what happened to the shirt?
Well, I don't know what. It might have been user error, and it's probably my load of laundry that did it. But I ordered a large, which usually are pretty loose on me. Like, this is a large right now. There's a lot of room. And I went to go put it on tonight before the show. I told him, hey, I got my shirt. Let me go put it on. And it was like putting on my son Emmett's shirt. I felt like a muscle man. I'm like, hey, did I just bulk up a little bit? I know I haven't been working out, but it looks like I had. My wife laughed. So yeah, be careful putting those in the dryer. Maybe I think I got a bad batch.
Yeah, and if you do get that, if you do buy a shirt and it shrinks, send it back. It's okay to do that. No, but Hannah, what happened?
There's a second option, but besides sending it back, give it to your wife. Because Hannah, I got downstairs after I put that on, I put this back on, and Hannah texted me. She goes, "Hey, go ahead and just order yourself an extra large because I'm gonna keep this one." And she sent me a picture. It fits her perfectly. So now Hannah, and she's wearing it right now. She just walked by. Actually,
that's so great.
No one saw it, but she's wearing the Home Gadget Geeks.
That's so awesome. Available for you, the averageguy.tv/shirt. I think
I just grabbed another one in a lot of colors too. A lot of cool colors. You got the gray, you got the black, red, whatever you want, green. You're repping the green tonight, right? Show that.
I've got the hair. Well, I
can't even tell you're wearing it.
But there we go. There's the Home Gadget Geek shirt on there for you right there. So you want to get that, Aaron? I feel like I owe you one. So, but we can't get them in Canada. So I think what I'm going to do is order one here, ship it to you to get it to you that way, because I think that's the only way we're going to get them in Canada right now. They make them through Amazon. We're purchasing them through Amazon, and so we'll have to figure out how to get one to you. So you can.
In the US, they cost like $15, and in Canada, they'd cost like $90.
What is okay? Let's air this thing out, because I have a lot of Canadian listeners, and they're always complaining to me about how expensive. Why is tech gadgets so expensive in Canada? Why is that? Do you know?
I don't know the actual reason, and I honestly doubt there's much logic behind it. I think a lot of it has to do with the dollar, the disparity between the Canadian and the US dollar, because already you're losing somewhere between, like 28 and 31%, depending on the day or the week or the month. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
So cryptocurrency would solve the issue.
It might.
You buy your shirt in a non-fiat currency, hey, that might solve all of our issues right there. Sorry.
You guys will have to teach me how to mine.
We'll stop.
You teach me.
We'll stop it
crypto shirts. I see a whole new space coming there. Crypto shirts.
I mine because of Jim.
We said
what
we weren't going to talk about it.
What would Jim mine?
We won't talk about it. That's the last you'll hear me
WWJM, right?
WWJM. I want a bracelet. I want the old school bracelet. The one that has a little latch on it that you tighten up on your wrist.
Yeah. Aaron, your prime minister's so good looking. I would think that would would fix that, right?
He does have great hair.
He's
a very handsome man. Yeah. The ladies love Justin Trudeau.
I need to look up a picture.
You're doing. Yeah, you should look him up. They're doing well in Canada. We're not doing so great in the U.S. So we'll just move.
Killing me.
There could also be that, right? It's sort of when you're comparing things to each other. I mean, Barack Obama, also a handsome man, very handsome man.
Yeah, so he looks like an all-star soccer player.
So Lopta in the chat room, he said it's $1 to $1.29 right now, U.S. to Canadian.
Yeah.
Dollars. Yeah, I feel, if you're a Canadian listener, I'm sorry, because we always talk about these gadgets and they're always 30 or 40 or 50% more in Canada. I apologize. I wish there was a great way for us to fix this. There isn't. So Mark and all those other Canadian listeners that we have out there, I officially apologize on behalf of the United States. I apologize.
We'll start an underground where they just pay us for shipping, Jim. You and I order it, and then we start a tunnel up to Canada.
I like it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's talk some gadgets. Aaron led off with the Samsung Frame TV, and she said, "Little tears when it left." What'd you like? What'd you really like about it? I think I
did. It's just such an amazing concept, and it's not a concept that's been done before in TV. We're all familiar with the TV that sits on the console or credenza or wherever you put your TV, and it's a giant black hulking hole in your room. And, it's great to watch and the quality's great and you've got 4K and HD, depending on what you want. But the thing about the Frame TV that I found that was really cool was they've basically made it to integrate into your room. So it's a TV. It's a 4K TV. Two sizes, 55-inch and 65-inch. I got to try the 65-inch. And I was saying earlier that I had Geek Squad from Best Buy come in, install it for me so that it was going to be perfectly set up. They took like 15 minutes to do it. And then I got a little walk through the TV. So amazing quality TV all on its own, but it's got a couple differences. So it's ultra thin. The actual TV itself, I think, is only about as wide as my thumb. It hangs on the wall with something called the no gap wall mount. So you know how when you have a painting or a canvas that hangs on your wall, it just hangs flat against the wall. This TV does exactly the same thing. So I've wall mounted TVs before. I have one down in my media room, and it sticks out from the wall. In this case, it's perfectly flush. It looks like it's hanging on the wall. The third thing is it's got this feature called art mode. And what it does is when you're not watching TV, it defaults to what looks like a real painting. So I'm not talking about a screensaver where when you put the screensaver on the TV and it glows and you can see that it's a TV and that it's a screensaver. This has light sensors in it so that when it's hanging on your wall, if the room is dark, it dims to the point where it's not going to glare at you. So it can be midnight. I can walk into the room and it just looks like there's art on the wall. So you can choose all kinds of artwork for it, depending on what your preferences are, whether you like photography, whether you like drawing or art or paintings or old world, new world, whatever. I just loved it because I've never had a TV in my living room because I haven't liked that big, in the formal form. Do we still do formal living rooms? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. In the space that we would call the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never liked that because it's kind of this big black hole in your room.
Yeah.
But this, I can't tell you how many people we had over that it took them a good 5 minutes to be like, what is that a TV? When it was in art mode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it is. They're like, no, it's not. And so you turn it on, put on some great 4K video, and then of course their minds are blown.
I completely agree. So this is so funny you bring this up because my parents, my dad texted me. They actually just moved into they have a spot up here in Omaha that they stay at a lot. And so he's like, hey, I kind of want to look at this new TV. It's the Samsung frame. And I had never seen it before. We ordered it. We got it set up in their place. And you are totally right. That art mode is insane. They had friends over who didn't even realize that was the TV. And not to the point where they're like, hey, why didn't you have a TV in your living room? But almost close. Like they get in, they're like, that looks really, really good. And the second thing that I really like about it, like it looks really good, is the new technology they have where it's one wire. It's a power cable and one wire from the back of the TV, and it runs down to a hub. So it works really well. If you have like a hole and a tunnel dug out behind where the TV is and you don't need to run that wire outside, you run this one wire out to a hub that has all your HDMI inputs, USB, everything that you would want. So you don't need to try and run a bunch of ugly cables up to this beautiful, gorgeous frame. You have one cable, and the cable itself, even if you need to run it underneath the TV, it is like a fiber optic cable. I think it's really, really skinny and see-through. It goes up against a wall really nice. So I was just beyond impressed with this TV. It changed the entire game of TVs, especially if you're looking for kind of a higher end living room TV. Man, everything you've been talking about is right on. The art mode, everything on it is top notch. And the one wire, I think, was it makes it usable for the everyday person, because it's like it makes it, you don't have to have all of these ugly cables running up. That was the problem before. And now you can have a gorgeous frame on your wall and not worry about it.
You're exactly right. That one wire is called the invisible connection because it's not white or black. It's kind of clear. So you don't like it, whatever your wall color is. You never even see it. No. And it's so smart having that. The box is called the One Connect box. And it's so smart because you can have that in a different room, even depending on how long the cable is that you want to add, in a different room, in a cabinet, somewhere out of the way. And that's where all your components are. So again, all you see is that beautiful TV, that beautiful art, and it's not cluttered up by anything. And you're absolutely right. That was another feature I really thought was smart about it.
It makes so much sense why we use these HDMI like hubs now and everything like that. So we only have to run one wire. Why not have that built into the TV? Because none of our boxes are right next to our TV. And a lot of these people, like you said, hang these up above a fireplace or on a mantle where you're not going to want to run 10 wires. It makes a lot of sense. I think they nailed it on this product.
Aaron, it comes with, looks like it comes with different frames. So you could change the frame to kind of match your living room. Did you choose a custom frame or did one ship for you?
I had the opportunity to try a couple different ones. So it comes with a basic black frame, and the bezel around the TV is actually super small. It's I mean, pinky finger size, if anything. You have the option also of adding on these additional, I can't remember what they call them. They're like art frames, but they're a wood look metal frame that clips on with magnets. And you just sort of snap them on in 4 pieces to the TV. And there's like a light kind of a pine color. There's a dark wood color. And then there's sort of like an oakier color. So you can pick whatever matches with your decor, however you want to do it. I think there's a white version as well if you want to just keep it super minimalist.
Can you swap them after the fact, or do you have to choose that when you order it?
No, so it only comes with black. The black one is the default one that you get. And I think the extra frames are about, I guess, depending on whether we're Canada or US, about $200 or $300 per frame. So, I mean, not inexpensive, but if I were going to get it for my house, I would probably pick a white one or a light wood one. I had a chance to try it with the light wood frame on it. And I found that helped it blend in even more because it's not looking like a metal edge TV. It looks like it's wrapped in a proper wood frame that you'd find on a piece of art. So it really helps it just blend away into the room.
Mark is asking in the chat room, and do you think there's any issues with burn-in the art mode? Would there be any issues with burn-in? I think some people would be with that same art being up all the time. Did they address that?
That's a great question. I had it in the house for about a month, and I think I tried to change the art sort of about every week. Now that's only 1 week at a time for 4 weeks with, you know, certain pieces of art. So I didn't notice that. But I've done some reading about, I think the Google Pixel had this, or the Pixel 2 rather, had this problem with some burn-in or ghosting. And what they were saying was, I think they called it, was it screen retention? That it just, the image will live within the pixels or the crystals for a certain period of time afterwards, almost like a ghosting. And then it eventually will dissipate and go away. I think the same thing would probably hold true with this. I didn't test it for long enough to sort of really get a sense of it. I sure hope not, because that would really ruin a great thing.
And I had me scared too. So when I set theirs up, I actually set my parents up to rotate the image every, I think, half hour, which sometimes you might not want that if you have a image that you really like, but you can still set that like a screensaver to rotate out through your favorite artwork every once in a while if you're worried about it.
And I think there's some things they do where they shift that image now where we can't see it, but it's constantly being shifted so that those pixels don't burn in. I don't know all the technology behind that. Aaron, what's this thing? What's this thing? I think we're all bracing. What's this thing retail for typically?
It is, hang on, I wrote down my Canada and America prices for you today. So Canadian listeners first, it's about $2,700 for the 55-inch. $3,700 for the 65-inch, and in the US it's about $2,000 for the 55-inch and $2,700 for the 65-inch.
There's that Canadian tax,
right? Again,
but a 4K TV, high refresh rate. I mean, all the bells and whistles, and just to pay for that one wire alone, I think is a great feature. So when I look at their picture, like I was skeptical too, because when we went to order it, I was like, that's kind of a lot for a 4K TV, only a 55-inch at that. But man, when you look at it and when you see it, and like you said, I think the biggest part too is the adaptive lighting on the artwork makes it look like it's not a screen. You think that that's always just the way the sun would reflect off that piece of artwork. So I think a little bit worth it for people who are looking for a higher end one in a area of their home that is often seen by others. You definitely, this isn't your bedroom TV, I don't think, but this is a good living room TV.
Yeah. So how long have you been without it, and how sad are you?
I've been without it for a couple of weeks now, and I'm still sad. My husband and I are actually talking about getting one for the living room for Christmas as our Christmas gift. Nice. So
you gonna go with the big one? You gonna go the big or?
I would probably go 55-inch only because the space in that room we would like to put it in, again, for it to sort of blend in, would only fit the 55. It helps that it's a little bit cheaper. So that's probably what I'd do.
Yeah, not in the world of TVs right now in that space. Mike, I think you just said that. Not terribly unreasonable. I mean, for a lot of us, for me, that's a lot of money. I don't know at this point in time if I'm going to spend $3,000 on a TV, you know.
It's the new curved glass, right? You paid extra for curved glass. You pay extra for this frame that just looks fantastic, has the artwork feature.
Other Jim says Other Jim says in the chat room, this will sell well in corporate offices. You know, that's
very
it's
true.
probably a
That's so
perfect
true.
corporate, right? They're going to spend that kind of money, not even blink.
Put it in your boardroom, and it's a artwork 99% of the time. The one time someone needs to throw something up on there,
Computer would look
It would
great
be
on.
perfect for
Yeah.
that, actually. Corporate
It would be.
applications never occurred to me, but you're bang on.
I never
Yeah.
thought of that either. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's very cool. I think that's I would prefer. You know, we're running in the kitchen PC. You know, the Keith Lunsford was the first to notice this, but Mike, those Kangaroo PCs that we have, if you run them hot, like if you run Boink on them all the time, 24/7, those batteries swell up. There's a lithium ion battery, and this swells up and it pops the case, right? And so both Keith and I have returned those. That was my kitchen PC. So Aaron, I have a 24-inch touchscreen, 10-point touchscreen in the kitchen. We had a PC in there for the Hey Cortana and that kind of stuff, where you could look things up or have conversations, watch movies out of the kitchen. Well, that Kangaroo PC, it didn't explode, but it came apart. I sent it in. They're going to send me a new one. But I put the Chromecast on there. And man, Chromecast art is really good, right? I'm assuming on this TV, is it powered by Android? Is it an Android TV on the back end, or is it Samsung software?
It's Samsung has a platform called WebOS. So it uses that. It's got Netflix, it's got YouTube, it's got, you know, all the usual suspects that you'd want for TV. And it's pretty easy to use. It's I would say very intuitive and user-friendly.
That was my one question for you, Aaron. Since you've looked at multiple TVs like this, it seemed like the menu system, the operating system was built custom for this TV. It all fit, it all looked the same. It looked very artsy, high-end. Is that custom to this TV, or is that normal for them?
I'm trying to think back to the last Samsung TV I reviewed, and I can't remember. I don't remember thinking it was out of place.
That remote, I think, is custom for that TV, and the remote, I think, is one of the best remotes I've seen on a TV as far as a smart remote goes. So I imagine that menu was custom, and it looks great. Everything just fits together.
Yeah, and it's very subtle. It comes up across the bottom of the screen rather than sort of taking up the whole screen. And that's so that you don't have to lose your 4K video picture. You don't have to destroy art mode. You know, you still get to see what you want to see, but the controls and the menu is all subtly across the bottom. It's really nice.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, well, it's been this idea of art on TVs or art on our computers. Microsoft is making a heyday out of this with Windows 10, and there are some gorgeous images that show up on your lock screen or whatever if you just leave the default on. Beautiful images. Like I said, the Chromecast will do it. I think Mark said Fire TV's got some fantastic ones too. So
yeah,
no lack of no lack. I would have loved to see this thing paired with like a NVIDIA Shield that is running Android TV, where you could take advantage of 4K on that, and there'd be some really great, man, I can't this. Oof. All right, let's move on. Starting to seriously think about this one.
Yeah.
It's like, yikes, this would be
You should.
maybe in the next house. Maybe it's hard when I
need one.
I've got a pretty nice 40-inch Samsung sitting right behind us that it's 4 or 5 years old, but it's still really good. Like, and so you're like, well,
it's hard when you can get a 4K TV for like $400 now. It's like, okay, what's going to make me spend that extra $1,600? It's aesthetics, right? And it's some of the extra stuff, but yeah, it's hard. I agree, Jim.
Yeah. Well, okay. Speaking of changing things out, my daughter is coming home from college here in a couple weeks. In fact, she's pinging me on Facebook Messenger right now saying, Dad, I need you to come pick me up on Wednesday because my last final's at 7:30. And I've told her a surprise is coming. And, many of you watched me pick up the iPhone 6, right? And we're going to make the jump over Christmas. She's probably not listening. We're going to make the jump over Christmas to what I thought was going to be the 8. But Aaron, you got a chance to get the newest. The new 10 on. Are we saying X or are we saying 10? What are we officially
Apple
saying?
Apple says 10. I thought it was X, but I checked and it's 10.
It is 10. Okay.
Roman numeral.
I agree.
10.
It's 10.
It's 10. Okay. So you got your hands on the 10. Can you talk me out of the 8 and to go to the 10? Because all I've heard is problems with face recognition and some of those kinds of things. So, but you had it in your hands.
Yeah. I have the 8. That's the phone that I'm running as my day-to-day phone right now. I got a chance to spend about 4 days with the 10 and then had to return my loaner. So caveat, I only had a very short time to play around with it. I wasn't expecting a lot. I'm going to be honest. I thought it's, it's nice, it's fancy, it's thinner, no home button. Okay, great. So what? Like, it's still going to run the same OS. It's still going to do a lot of the same things. I got the phone in my hands, and I'm not lying, within about 5 minutes, I was in. I loved it. It was so intuitive, the way things moved, the new gestures that are involved because there's no home button. It was just so easy to adapt to. I like the fact that there is no home button. I like the size and feel of it. I do a TV segment up here in Canada, and I wanted to sort of show people what the differences are between the 8, a 6 Plus, for example, and the 10. So I laid them all side by side. The 6 Plus is a bigger phone. The 8 is a small phone. When you lay them side by side with the 10 is like the size of the 6. Let me get this straight. The 10 is the size of the 6 Plus's screen, but without all the extra stuff around it, without the bezel, without the case, without the edging and stuff.
Yeah, because the button's gone.
Yes. So you get a bigger phone in a smaller package, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I really like that because I like having a bigger phone. I love the way the 8 and iOS 11 is working for me right now. But the 8 is too small a phone for me. Just the way I like to operate, the amount of work I do on my phone, I need a bigger phone. So I feel like the 10 would be just perfect for me. It's a great size. It's got all new glass. I think Apple says it's got like the hardest glass in a phone now. So durable.
From a usage standpoint, or from some of the new features, especially getting that thing unlocked, did you experience some of those issues of getting it unlocked that I've been hearing about?
So I did put my facial recognition in. You get it all set up and it screens your face and it knows how to read you. I did not have any problems. And again, spent 4 days with it. I didn't have any problems getting it unlocked. It was instant. And it's got a couple of neat features. I've tried the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, which also has facial recognition. And I found with that phone, you almost had to sort of hold it up and look at it deliberately before it would unlock. With the 10, there's a neat thing that it has where as you're sort of lifting it from the desk and you're flicking your thumb up with it and bringing it up in front of your face all at the same time, by the time it's up in front of your face and at eye level, it's already open and unlocked. So I found it really fast. I didn't have any problems with it. I can't speak to what others are doing, but the 4 days I spent with it, it unlocked super fast.
For you, but what about the beard? Do you think it would it recognize the beard? I'm just joking.
It's supposed to. And I tested this on, I posted a short review, I guess, on my YouTube channel. So I put on sunglasses. I put on glasses. I put on a hat. I sort of tried to fool it. Trick it. And it worked every time.
Even with the sunglasses. That's good to know.
Even with the sunglasses. Apple says that it's so good that it's literally checking the bone structure and the features of your face and the contours, and that's what it's recognizing off of. So yeah, it worked with sunglasses. It worked with just sort of regular glasses, worked with a hat. It was kind of impressive. I wasn't expecting it to be that good.
And so the size thing, I think you nailed it. So actually, I texted my wife and said, "Hey, can you bring down your phone for like 5 minutes? I just need it for 5 minutes." So these are the two phones. So the 10 and this is the 7. You can see same exact size screen when I hold them up like that. But if I lay one over the other, I mean, it's just crazy. There is a huge gap up there. So same size screen, but a lot bigger phone. This is the 7 Plus is my phone, and this is her phone. And that size, it just makes such a difference in your hand. I think especially for a woman's hand, a little bit smaller. Hannah was kind of worried that, hey, I didn't want the Plus because it's a little bit big in my hand. But if you give me the same size screen in the 10, huge difference. Makes a lot of difference. And so we've only had this for 24 hours. I got it for her yesterday. But she said the facial recognition actually pretty nice. The only downside is maybe when you're in a car and you are trying to just unlock and then hit play or something like that, where you don't want to look down at the phone. With the whole attention thing, you actually need to look down at the iPhone 10 for it to unlock. So even if it scans your face and you kind of look at it, so she said it's a little bit wonky in situations where you can't look at your phone, but you're trying to unlock it. Whereas on the old ones, you would rest your thumbprint on the home button and be in. So a few wonky items, but other than that, size-wise, perfect. How did you get along with the gestures? I know you said you kind of got on board with it really quick, but there's a lot of new gestures with the iPhone 10.
The ones that I tried primarily are sort of that unlocking motion. Instead of sort of double clicking the home button to get your tabs, it's a different gesture. Like I say, I found it really intuitive, but I'm sort of an Apple person. That's what I've had for the longest period of time. I sort of play in both worlds now, but I'm used to the Apple way, and maybe that's helpful. Would somebody else who's coming in from the Android world look at that and go, everything is wrong. How do you make it work? I found it really easy to adapt to. And for the most part, it was smart the way the gestures worked. Once you get used to it and figure it out and know what's different and what does what, same with any new gadget or device, right?
Yeah, that was Hannah's reaction too. She was like, where's my home button? And she keeps like tapping the middle. Where's that? And now after just 24 hours, she's trying to swipe my screen up. And I'm like, yeah, mine doesn't do that. Thanks for reminding me.
I'm so button oriented on the iPhone, of doing that. I've got all these, these 6 fingers are all there, and I can do it from an angle. All right. So Mike, I'm going to ask you this first, and then Aaron, you're on deck. So I'm going from a 6. I purposely got the smaller screen because I wanted trackability with my thumb. I wanted to be able to reach the entire screen right when I'm holding it. When you get into the plus modes, those get a little big, but I am having a little bit of plus envy at this point. I'm looking at this, I'm like, maybe it is time to go to a big screen. Like, I'm doing more on a plane with them. I'm doing more where I pair them with a keyboard. I'm doing more of those kinds of things where a bigger screen would be helpful. So I'm definitely in a spot. It's going to be an 8. It's an 8 plus. Or do I go all the way? The 10's so expensive, right? So, Mike, let me start with you. That's a good-looking beard, by the way. In that when you held that up, you could see.
Oh, you could see your beard. Yeah, there you go. There's my son too. Let me try and get that to go off so you can actually see. I mean, look at the bezel. So I'm just like, when you get the 8 plus, you're going to get the same size phone that I have. And if you look at that extra lip up there and on the side, I'm actually holding a lot of space on the side. You're going to get that big a phone with no size of screen increase. So if you went with a 10, you get the same size screen for smaller. Now, whether that's worth for you, Verizon, the difference between, a lot of people do the 24-month payment option, the difference between an iPhone 10 and an iPhone 8, especially if you do the 8 plus, is going to be about $10 a month. So
Sprint subsidizes it some.
So whatever that is, whatever that screen size for you is worth. So if you want that big screen size, are you willing to put up with the bigger sized phone, or do you want the 10, which is same size screen, just a smaller footprint, still holds your hand very well. So I think you go with the 10, especially just because, you're a tech guy and you got to have, the latest and greatest new stuff. All of the gestures and Face ID on this are just phenomenal. I'm already jealous, and it's been 24 hours looking at her phone, how quick it is for her. She picks it up, it raises, and you see the unlock. Obviously for me, it's not doing it. It unlocks and she's in. Like, it's so simple. And then you go to put in a password on a website and it uses Face ID. And you don't even get prompted to enter a password because you're looking at the phone and it knows it's you. It's what I want to see in all my products. I want my laptop to use its sensors to be like, hey, that's Mike. I don't need to put in a password every time because I'm sitting in front of the computer. So I don't know, Jim.
Windows Hello has that. That's on some of these new, these new Microsoft devices. You have Windows Hello that'll do that. But Aaron, what do you think? Going from a 6, you've got the 8. You have the smaller 8. Do I go 8 plus or do I go 10? And then, in your opinion, is it worth it to spend the extra on the 10?
My previous phone was the 6 Plus, so I know what you're talking about with the size difference, and that was my comfort zone and my happy place. I went to the 8. I like the operating system. I like the new features, and it plays really well with iOS 11, but I miss that bigger screen. I really do. For the way I work, for the things I do on my phone, video editing, watching video, social media, a ton of emails. I want and need that bigger screen. So having had all 3 of those phones in my hand, the 8, the 6 Plus, and the 10, I want the 10. That's going to be my next phone. Yeah, it's expensive. It's an investment for sure. But I almost feel like, yeah, you could get, the 8 or you.
Yeah.
And then are you always going to be wishing you had the 10?
Well, or do you go with it? I'm a guy. I mean, I've held on to this for 3 years. I bought the lease out. I paid because I wanted to get as much life out of this as I can to wait for the next jump. I think an 8 Plus could be a good jump at a good price point, and then wait for the next iteration of the 10, because I think they learned a bunch, right? Anytime you make a major form factor change, there's always issues. And so I think they've learned a ton, and I think whatever comes out after this is going to be better than this is. So Mike, let me throw that at you. Is that thinking like, okay, 8 Plus now, hold that for 2 years and look at the next version of the 10 that it's going to come out a year and a half from now?
So I'm looking at the complaints, and this is actually, I was going to ask Erin if she noticed when she had the 10, the notch, right? You guys can't see it, but there is a notch at the top. It divides the top of the screen in half because that's where all their sensors are, their facial recognition, everything like that. That's one of the biggest complaints about the phone is you have this notch when you're watching video in full screen. You have a notch on the left side. So anything in that notch is, you can double tap and zoom out a little bit and change the aspect ratio. But so in the next iteration, will they bump that? Will they find a way to get rid of the notch? I don't think so, because how do you do that? If you want screen to screen, top to bottom, those sensors need to go somewhere. So I don't know if the biggest complaint about the iPhone 10 is going to be resolved. And then I look on top of that is, okay, what are the other issues? What are going to be resolved? Because when I had the same thing as you, Jim, every time there's a new iteration, whether it's the 7, you always waited for the S, and you'd kind of have a little bit bumped up version. But on this 10, I really don't know what they're going to improve on. And if I know they're going to improve, obviously, but there's nothing that I would say, hold out. They held off on something on here that you want to wait till the next one. There's always that issue with the S. It's like, well, there's no big design change. Wait. On this one, I'm not sure, Jim. I would usually tell you, yes, definitely. If you're going to get the 8, I'd say wait for the 8S, something like that. But on this one, I just don't know what exactly they're going to improve. The Face ID critics out there, I just don't know what they're basing their stuff on, because all the people I know who have 10s just rave about it and love it. And so I don't know. I can't give you a negative opinion about it to talk you out of the 10 versus the 8 besides price. There's a huge price point. So it comes down to price.
I kind of feel like that 8S is the sweet spot. Erin, do you want to respond to anything Mike said there?
Yeah, no, I did notice the notch. I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of video on it. And Mike, that's actually a really good point that might be a bit distracting. I mean, I'm looking at the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus right now, and not that you guys will be able to see this because I don't have the battery charged up, but the bezel across the top is super thin and narrow, but it's still got all their hardware in it. So you might be right.
They just have an entire bezel.
It's not notched. It's a flat.
So maybe that's the solution,
the top,
right? You
but
just
it's
move
just
it all up
really
and move
narrow.
the screen. Yeah, that's a good point.
See, that would make sense, right? Very narrow across the top, and then you can still have your rectangular screen.
Do the sensors there. There's some chat going on in the chat room about, of course, we still have the headphone jack in the 6, and that's now gone. I have since moved on to Quiet Comfort 35s, both Quiet Comfort 35s for travel, which are Bluetooth. So I'm kind of been preparing for this day a little bit. I've got my eyes on a set of Bluetooth workout earbuds, which a buddy of mine got, just some generic ones, made in China, right? We call them China earbuds, in fact, because there's like the brand, you can't pronounce the brand or whatever. He's had them for a couple months. He took them and put the earbud pieces on the ends. So, Aaron, we're big fans of the earbud brand. That's what I'm wearing now because they you can get ambient sound in when you're podcasting or if you're running or biking, right? You can hear what's going on around you. It doesn't completely, and I prefer those kind of earbuds. Well, the guy was a genius. He just bought some extra, the plastic piece on these is you can just buy that, take it off, and then he put it on the China Bluetooth, and he goes, they're super comfortable now. And I was like, that's freaking genius. So
genius.
I may move that direction when we think about Bluetooth. So I'm not all that worried about losing the headphone jack. I know that's been a big deal for some people, but for me, it's not. I just kind of think, for me, I think the sweet spot is that 8 Plus. I just, from a price perspective, that's all the best technology has gone into the 8. They've kind of ended that run on that die, and now 10 is the next. Okay, here we go. And like you said, Mike, already tonight we've thought, oh, maybe if you change the top of the bezel, right? So I think there'll be some changes coming on 10. And I don't know if I'm willing to pay that much extra to be that much cutting edge when maybe in a year and a half a really good version of 10 comes out that then I jump onto, that way.
Because what is the price difference? I think it's $275 from the 8 Plus to a 10 64 gig. Because if you're going plus, you're already up at I think $700 and some dollars.
$799. Let's say $800.
You're up to $1,000 flat for a 64 gig 10. Yeah, it really does come down to really the size, the facial recognition. What do you want features wise? The only thing I do think is that going forward, I think the software behind the facial recognition is only going to get better. So physically the phone may change, but if you have the 10 now, you're only going to benefit going forward. This sounds like, this was my job coming in, Jim, on your show originally a few years ago, was to be the Apple fanboy and to talk it up. And I'm not trying to tell everyone like 10 is better than the 8, but it's just something to consider. Like you have the hardware in the 10 that you don't have in the 8. So going forward on future software releases, Apple is known to quickly, hey, that old phone, nope, like that doesn't have the specs that we need to run Apple Pay. It definitely does, but we're just not going to support it. So if people that upgrade on the 10 and the 8, same year, you guys bought the new phone in 2017, I guarantee they're going to start not supporting the 2017 model iPhone 8 as fast as they are the 10, because the 10 has the new hardware.
Yeah. No,
and we haven't even talked, Jim, by the way, about the Animojis, which is the thing you can do with the 10.
I sent a poop Animoji the first 10 minutes Hannah had the phone. That was the first thing she unlocked today. I said, can I send a poop Animoji to my dad? And I did. That was the first thing I did. How are you going to live, Jim, if you can't send the Animojis?
Can I say that's the least exciting thing that I can think about on the phone?
You can say it, but you'd be lying.
No, but you know what? I thought that too. And I was like, why do I need a talking emoji? Like, why? And honestly, I sent out a few to my friends because people that don't have the 10 can also see the Animojis, which is great because they're video files. So I sent out a few and people are like, oh, wow, that's so cool. How'd you do that? Wow, that's so much fun. And then, of course, everybody at work was like, oh, I want to try being the poop. I want to try being the fox. I want to be a pink unicorn. And like, it was funny. It's a minor thing to a lot of people and probably justifiably so, but it's a really neat feature. And I think Mike hit the nail on the head with all that stuff, the camera, the facial recognition of what you can do with that is only going to get better.
A lot of people change phones out this time of year. This is when we start thinking about, I have changed the last, I think 5 when I went back and thought about it, the last 5 phones I've bought either at Christmas or just after. And I don't know because they fall in these cycles, right? Typically these upgrade cycles. So good coverage to think about, especially since I'm a week away or 2 weeks away from thinking about what I'm doing. And I hadn't really thought about it very much to think, I got a note from Sprint and they're like, hey, we're heavily subsidizing iPhones. If you want to jump in, we'll cover $25 of that payment. And it's like, whoa, it brings it down to like $12. And
that's really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard.
The iPhone 10 is $40 a month. So if you take 25 off that, you're looking at $15 and you could have an iPhone 10.
I know. All of a sudden you're like, oh, okay.
Or probably a free iPhone 8 at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much money a month do you spend in coffee, Jim? Or tea?
Way
or
more.
Beer?
Yeah. Well, definitely way more than that, Aaron.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So for the price of how many beers could you have the iPhone 10?
No, right on. Well, I will struggle with it.
To get Jim into an iPhone 10. I've never seen this.
I'll struggle with it. I'm still kind of thinking it's too early for the 10, and then I'd want to be on the 8 for 18 to 24 months. Good solid platform. Just I need my phone to just work. And when I moved off the Galaxy S4 and moved on to an iPhone 6, and it did everything I needed perfectly, I couldn't believe I was struggling with Android. I was like, why now? Android's caught up since then, and they have better phones. So there's some great. My kids are all on the Pixel phones, and they're doing the Google stuff, and so we're an Android family. My daughter and I are the holdouts on iPhone at this point. Even my wife is a Galaxy S4, a Note 4, and she has probably got that thing. We're gonna have to replace that here pretty quick too, because I think that's 3 years old as well. So she's got a new. Have you been trying out the new Samsung stuff as well? Then, Erin, have you been?
I have.
New?
Yeah, I've tried. Well, I got a chance to try out the S8 Plus. I had the Note 8 for a couple weeks and really liked that because it comes with the stylus.
Yeah. Do you like it?
She'd like that, I bet.
I did actually. I really did like it, and I found the stylus was really intuitive. It's got translation functions in there. This was back in the summer when I had it, so I'm trying to remember some of the other features. But I really enjoyed it. I really like Samsung phones. I've also had the Google Pixel 2 for a little bit and really like that phone. The camera on that is like so perfect. And it's a great phone too.
So when you test these phones, are you putting these on your personal number? So like this is like your daily driver, or do you carry two?
It depends. With the Apple phones, I will usually just transfer everything over because it's easy.
Right.
With the Galaxy S8, I did a full transfer. I actually set out to, that was sort of my first big leap into Android for any length of time. So I said, I am taking everything off the iPhone. I'm putting it on the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. I'm not going to look at an iPhone. I'm going to live in this world. And I did that for about 6 or 8 weeks or so, and forced myself to stay there. And then after much reflection, I returned to the iPhone.
That's a good way to do it. I mean, you really dove in. You didn't let yourself be biased by, okay, well, I have both, and my friends are still on iPhone. I'm texting them a iMessage. It's not. So it's a good way to do it.
And honestly, Mike, that was one of the primary reasons, because like I said, Samsung makes great phones, and there's nothing wrong with Android as a phone operating system. It works great. There are some bugs and some things people don't like, and complaints and stuff. It works fine. For me, it was being disconnected from my family, my friends, and my coworkers. No exaggeration, all of whom have iPhones. So when we would have family discussions about what time everybody's coming over on Sunday for dinner, or with my coworkers about, who's going to cover for the person who's sick, I would get that initial message and then wouldn't get any follow-ups as they're having these conversations. So I was getting left out of a lot of stuff. And I just thought, I can't afford to be that disconnected from everybody in my life. So that was one of the primary drivers for me going back.
I totally agree. Ecosystem's everything. We have, it's always like that one friend, like, okay, who's causing the green bubbles to show up instead of the blue bubbles? Because there's one friend who doesn't have the iPhone, and it's right now my wife's mother. And so a lot of times we're like, hey, can you just read your husband's phone? Because that way we can have iMessage. It's a lot easier. And actually, we're going to give Hannah, since she just upgraded to the 10, where I'm setting up tonight the old phone. I'm creating her an Apple ID because she's been Android for years. I said, I'm just going to make it easy for you, and we're going to switch over. And the one last thing I'll say about the switch over, I don't know when they implemented this, because honestly, we did not buy the 8, so I'm sure it's on the 8 too. But when you upgrade your iPhone, really kind of cool on the iPhone 10 and this new operating system, when you swipe the phone for the first time, it says, hey, do you have an old phone that you're switching from? Hold them close together and it will transfer everything. And that was awesome. Like you said, okay, I don't have to.
That was pretty magic.
It was magic. Like I don't have to plug in my Apple ID and my password anymore. It's like, we'll recognize it. And I mean, it saves you maybe a few inputs on the keyboard, of like passwords and stuff like that. But overall, it makes the experience so much faster. And it copies over the exact same settings you had before. It doesn't go through hey, do you want to send analytics to Apple? Do you want to do this? Because we're going to copy over the same settings as before. So I don't know when they implemented that, because I have not upgraded my phone in a while. But when they did, very awesome on that part. And like you said, it's the whole switching ecosystems thing, right? Like, look how easy that was to upgrade an Apple phone and then to switch ecosystems. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder. And then your friends also tear you apart for not for causing the green bubbles.
See, now we get around that. We're Facebook Messenger family. So everybody, right? We've gone to a platform that's cross-platform, and you can do a ton of stuff in Messenger and in Facebook Messenger. And so that's kind of that's what we do. We have a family group. We have a couple. It's funny because we have like all family, and then we have one of my daughter, myself, and my wife just for her, and then we have Tim, Sam, Sarah, me, because they're the four of us talk on weekends because they're the two that are gone. And so we've figured out just to do that instead of using the proprietary products built into it or getting stuck in the ecosystem. We've chosen to go outside and just kind of come up with a standard platform. And that's actually worked really well. We tried Voxer for a while for that. And Voxer is cool because you can add voice. You can do voice in Messenger. It's just not as easy. And not enough people would use it or look at it consistently. And so we just always end up, in fact, now when I start a text message, I get, could you move this to Messenger? Like, let's stay in that ecosystem. So
that's actually a really smart solution, and that didn't occur to me, but at the time. But yeah, like
everybody's on Facebook. Just about.
I hate Facebook Messenger. I don't like it. I will look at it on the desktop if I have to. I have it completely disabled on both my phones and avoid it like the plague. But you're right. That would be a good solution. But then I'd have to get all my iPhone friends and family to adopt it. And most of them don't like it either.
Right.
So we're still trying to.
You can do that in a family. That makes a lot of sense. Like, but try to get all your friend groups and your coworkers, everyone to like switch over when you're the one person and
right on. No,
a text.
No, right on. Well, during the holiday season, both Amazon and Google have dropped their small digital assistants to $30 here in the United States. So you can go into Best Buy right now. I still think they're available there. They were Black Friday, but they held it over. I was just in there last weekend. They're still available there. And so if you've not gotten into that, having a digital voice assistant, either that the Amazon device or the Google device, they're available pretty cheap here in the United States. Aaron, you got a chance to get the Google Home, which is the Alexa version for Google. We've covered this a couple times, but I kind of want to get your take on the Home. One, did you get to keep it? And two, do you have an Amazon device, and how do they compare?
So I've had the Home for a little while. It's on loan from Google. I still have it right now. So, which is fortunate for me because Amazon just launched the Echo devices in Canada, like within the last couple weeks. And I just got an Echo, the Echo and the Dot for testing as well. So it's perfect because I'm going to have the opportunity to test them both and see how they compare. Cause that's the question I've been getting on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook is which one's better? What are the differences? How do they work? How are they the same or different from each other? So I really liked the Google Home. I was surprised when I got it because I'm like, who needs a talking speaker? I have a Sonos. It plays music. I don't need to talk to it. I can just push the button on my phone and listen to the music. I don't need the speaker to tell me what time it is or whatever. So I got the Google Home set up and thought, same thing. I'm going to launch myself into this. I'm going to try and do as much stuff as I can on the Google Home. And I'm just going to embrace it. And I found myself surprised by how easily it integrated itself into my life. Now we can have a whole separate conversation about how, they're listening to us. They're listening to everything we say. Separate conversation.
Yeah.
But it does a lot of really cool things. So if I'm in the kitchen, I'm making dinner, doing whatever, washing dishes, tidying up, I've got soapy hands, I've got chicken hands, whatever. And I want to have some music on. I'm not, I got to wash my hands. I got to grab my phone. I got to unlock the phone. And if I don't have the facial recognition, I got to really unlock the phone. And then I got to load up the music and then I got to hit play. And it's so funny because we're talking about like seconds. It takes a few seconds to do this stuff. And we're like, oh my God, it takes so long. Mm-hmm. But with the Google Home, I can just say, and I have to be careful how loud I say this because it'll actually hear me and start doing this. But you just say, okay, Google, and all my phones are going to go off here now too. Yeah. Play me some jazz. And it just loads up a playlist and plays it for you. And, oh, you don't like that? Oh, can you skip this song? You can set timers. So if I've got something I've just popped in the oven or on the stove, set a timer for 10 minutes and then it goes off when you're done. Set an alarm to remind me about, that it's time to leave for my appointment. It'll do that kind of stuff. So I just found that it really easily integrated itself into my life and made things that I would ordinarily go to my phone for, like, oh, I'm going to check what the weather forecast is for tomorrow. Well, I can just ask Google. So it makes the stuff that you go to your phone or your computer for a lot easier. There's no clicking, there's no unlocking, there's no searching. It's just all information at your fingertips.
Yeah. What do you prefer between the two, or do you have enough experience now to be able to say?
I don't. I only plugged the Echo in last night, and I'm not even 100% sure it's connected to the network yet. I sort of plugged it in and I was like talking to it, and it's like, Alexa, I guess is her name.
Yeah. Yep.
Was like, I don't understand you yet. So I've got to get it set up and configured. One of the things I did really like about it when I was getting things connected, though, was that I seemed to be able to use my Apple Calendar with the Echo device. Whereas with Google Home, at the time, I couldn't. I had to be able to connect it to an Android phone. So I couldn't integrate some of my calendar appointments and reminders and things like that with the Google Home. With Alexa, it appears that I can do that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because then I can just say, hey, Alexa, what's on my calendar for tomorrow? And she'll repeat it back to me.
That's good to know. I have not tried that with the Apple calendars yet.
Yeah, they're all getting in that productivity, Mike. They're all getting in that space. And
I didn't know
they're all starting to catch each other, but those. I don't find the calendar. I just need to remember, like, that my route to work can be a 10 or 15 minutes difference if I know which direction to go. And it's funny. The weak point is me asking, like, just saying, hey, what's my traffic look like, to work? And it'll tell me the right route. There's a new Cortana bot in Skype where you can just put, what's my traffic to work, or what's my traffic look like? And it will come back with a map and all that other cool stuff. I just have to remember to do it. So I'm kind of finding now the weak link on these assistants. For lights, they're dynamite, but the weak link is me remembering to ask the questions. Mike, go ahead. I cut you off.
Well, no, that was my question for Aaron. Aaron, did you have any, I want to know, does Google Home integrate with their Chromecast at all to do any kind of like Google Home to TV interaction? Amazon's been focusing a lot on that lately with the Echo. You can pair one Echo with one Fire Stick or Fire TV, and it's been dynamite. So I want to know if Google has like kind of done any of that at all.
I want to say I think it does. I didn't test it with a Chromecast, so I can't say for sure. But I'm pretty sure you can ask it to cast onto the Google Chromecast. Right. I shouldn't actually say what I think because I'm not sure, but that would make sense.
Well,
we have.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Oh, so we ended up pairing. We have one Amazon. We have the full Echo in our living room, and we have that. We have a Fire Stick now in every TV. Fire Stick has taken over our house as the streaming device of choice, and in most of our rooms where we have one, we also have an Echo, and it's been awesome because you can pair one with one. Hannah's in the bedroom; she's going to bed. She can say, "Alexa, open The Voice on Hulu," and all of a sudden our TV is playing her show on Hulu. Remote. Now, if they only had an IR blaster that could change the volume and power on and off the TV, that would like be game over. We'd be done because that's what our Xbox does. Like, we just need that to be done. But it's really changed the way we kind of started to drop off a little bit on new features on the Amazon Alexa. It was kind of like, okay, I know we can use it for lights. I know we can use it for this. And now that we have been able to repair it and use it on these Fire Stick, I mean, it's kind of been a kind of new use case for us. And it's one that is very much, we use the word wife approved, especially pregnant wife, 9-month pregnant wife, ready to give birth. She's like, if I can sit down and just ask Alexa to play something, it's awesome. So it's kind of been interesting. So I just want to know how Google's competing there because it's been a big focus for Amazon.
So I'm just skimming Google's support page right now, and it looks like you can use Google Home with Chromecast.
Okay, because that was my wonder, and I wonder if Google's also going to come out with, because Chromecast is kind of we call it a cast device, right? You take something from a phone, cast it up to the Google Cast. There's nothing really from Google that is at least correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I don't know about it, is like a stick, right? Or a a Google TV, where it's just a little tiny device that you plug in that doesn't need some secondary device like a phone. It just runs, where that's kind of the benefit.
It's mirroring. Yeah.
Yeah. It's mirroring
In
instead of,
essence.
whereas the Amazon Fire Stick or Fire TV is more a full featured device that doesn't need a secondary input.
It's got some smarts and an OS kind of built into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, because do you have you use Chromecast, don't you?
We do. We have a couple Chromecasts.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't use them a lot, but they are handy. If they're really handy for this. Hey, watch this YouTube video, and you just cast it over to the TV, and boom, it's there. Right. I mean, the hard part with some of that is the inputs. Like, now I got to switch it over from the media center to the Chromecast. I got to find the remote. Where's that remote? Where did I put that remote? That's
why Amazon Fire Stick has solved it all for us, because they have a Plex app, which is our media center.
Right.
And Amazon Fire Stick is the same price as a Chromecast, $30-something. Full featured though, has a remote, connects with your Echo. So if you don't want a remote, also has all the apps like Plex, if that's your media server, whatever it is. I mean, with the exception of our cable box, which is probably going to go away sometime soon. My air conditioning just went off. I realize how loud I'm talking when my heater goes off. With the exception of that, we don't switch inputs. It's really the Fire Stick, and that's about it. It has everything we need.
Aaron, you are in the very beginning of that journey where you're seeing the value of these, and now they interact with the lights and television, and that's why with that 4K, I was kind of wondering if it had Android TV built into it, because then there's some interaction with that, or you can send, you can kind of, it becomes a device on the network. So it'll be interesting. We'll follow you a little bit on these devices. We actually have the 3 of them, so an Echo or an Amazon device, a Google device, and then of course, Hey Cortana, that you can do it off any Windows device and be able to get that. Cortana is getting stronger. There's just going to be a day, right? We stop. We don't even know how to type. Today, we don't know how to write anymore because we type everything. Right. There'll be a day we don't even type because we say everything. Maybe a ways away, but pretty cool. Hey, before we're running out of time, before we go, though, you've got some smart luggage that I really want to talk about, because you always find these things. Like, you find this really cool stuff, mattresses and some of that stuff, but you got some smart luggage. How much smarter can we make luggage? And talk a little bit about it. I know you're just starting to review it.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's 2 I'm reviewing right now. One is called Away, and the other is called Giro. So smart luggage basically is kind of an umbrella term for suitcases with some special features. They can include built-in charging. Some of these bags can weigh themselves. Some of them have built-in GPS tracking or come with Bluetooth tracking devices. So there's different features depending on which bag you get and what other features and options you want. So the Away bag that I have right now, I just took it on a trip, just came back with it. It's more of a spinner style hard shell suitcase. It has the built-in charging in it. So I really like that, because when I travel, even if I'm traveling for pleasure, usually the airline flight is work time. So I use up my laptop, I use up my tablet, I use up my phone, and I need to plug them in. And sometimes there's not plugins on the plane. Sometimes there's not a place to hook up at the airport. So I really liked having the charging. The Giro bag is another smart bag. It too has built-in charging. The big difference on the Giro bag is it's a soft-sided bag made of ballistic nylon. So supposed to be pretty durable. I took that bag as well on this same trip and traveled around with it. But the wheels on the Giro are on the side of the bag. You're going to either have to picture this or look it up. They're kind of on the bottom, on the sides of the bag, and they're like big honkin', like slice of bread size wheels with sort of big treads on them. And they're made to hit obstacles, hit cobblestone, go upstairs. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to drag a spinner bag up the stairs. You snap the wheels off. It's not a good situation. But with this one, you can sort of pull it up the stairs and up over things, and it rolls a lot easier. So those are some of the features that are around in luggage. Like I say, different types of luggage have different options, but those are sort of the 2 that I've got my hands on right now in a nutshell.
Mark,
you brought those up. How is because I heard the Away bag is fantastic for like packing away gadgets, especially like the compartments are good for that. did you try and pack away anything besides clothes? How are the compartments on that away bag?
On the inside of the bag, so the away is sort of a 2-half bag. So the zipper runs down the middle. You split it into 2 halves when it opens up.
Okay.
Is that like a clamshell, I guess we'd say? Yeah. So just sort of 2 big cavities on either side. And because it's a hard shell, there's no pockets. There's no extra compartments, I would say. It does come with I guess it's a compression square that lets you can sort of tighten the packing straps over it and sort of push your luggage down. It has a space in it for a tablet or a laptop. It's not really built for transporting tech. It's kind of just a nylon sleeve.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
The Giro, on the other hand, does have pockets that are more designed for tech, I would say. In again, that's just sort of one trip with these bags. But it's got pockets sort of on the back side where you can put your passport, you can put your phone, you can sort of put the stuff you need quick access to. And then on the front side, sort of the side that faces out, there's more of like a laptop pocket. It's also wired on the inside so that you can stash your gadgets in those pockets on the front and plug them in. So they're charging while they're in your bag, which is something you can't do with the away version.
That's a big deal. You put it up above you, in the overhead during a flight to charge a laptop for the next flight or for the layover. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
It opens up a bit differently. So the other thing about the Giro bag in particular is it's sort of got a zip panel and it's one large cavity. So adapting to pack is a bit different. I've always had sort of a clamshell suitcase and, you put clothes in one side and everything else in the other. With the Giro, it's a bit different because you're sort of having to pack twice as tall. So I find it's a bit more of a packing challenge for me, but that's probably just because that's not what I'm used to.
Aaron, I have some bad news. So Mark in the chat room sent me a link. He's to an article, and it says America Airlines, Delta, and Alaska Airlines announced today, December 6th, I guess that was yesterday, that if a battery is built into the luggage, it cannot be and cannot be removed. You won't be able to take it on the aircraft.
So I read this exact same thing today and was ready. I was like, yeah, no, it's a legit concern, right? I'm pleased to say that at least the away bag and the Giro bag in particular, the batteries are both removable. Now, the thing about it is they're sort of built into the bags. The away bag in particular, it's under the lining, so you can unzip the lining and get at the battery. You need a screwdriver. They've included a screwdriver, which is super handy because they have sort of foreseen that this could become a problem. The only thing is that if you're stuck at security and some guy from the TSA in the States
TSA,
is hassling you that you've got to take the battery out, now you got to unpack your bag all over the security desk, unzip the lining, get out the screwdriver, take the battery off, put it in your carry-on or put it wherever they want it to go. So that's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. The battery that comes with the Giro is a separate battery pack. It's actually not affixed to the suitcase. So there's sort of a place where you can stash it. It seems to me that's a little easier to get in and out if you ever did need to move it. Because the thing is, you can't pack those batteries. I think they're lithium ion. You can't pack them in checked baggage because there is that danger they'll explode, I guess.
Yeah, no, they will.
And the great part about it, it's airline being banned now, so TSA doesn't care. So you're going to get through TSA, you're going to get up to an airline, and then you just have to convince them that either it's not, or you can.
They'll check it. They'll scan those on the way through too before they go into the hold, and they'll pull them off if they find those things in there.
You're storing it up above you.
Well, I think it's going to just change these companies, which are relatively new in the last 3 years. We'll have to just change to create it easier to get the batteries out.
Well, and it makes sense after you saw the biggest fire, the fires they had with that old Samsung phone. I mean, batteries are a big concern for them. So
it's legit.
I don't blame them. Yeah, I don't blame them for being concerned about it.
You know where this could go wrong, though, is I actually checked one of the smart bags coming back and it had the battery screwed into it. Had somebody at the airline or at, security decided that was not cool, what would they have done? Would they have just hauled it off the plane and said, well, deal with it? And by that time I'm halfway home. Like it would be interesting to me how they would handle the situation. Would they take the battery out for me and then repack all my stuff and then push my bag onto the next flight and chuck the battery? Like, I don't know if they've got this stuff worked out, but it's a legitimate concern.
I bet you get paged. They would, because they're loading, you're getting on the plane, they may page you and say, hey, this bag's we're gonna have to make a decision. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. This is fairly new, right? I mean, these kinds of problems are fairly new. You may even see a series of where the battery is a snap-in piece, that it goes in a sleeve and then snaps in, and then you pull it off elegantly and it's wrapped in a piece of plastic, right? That then you can store in a bag and take with you in your purse or put it in a briefcase that goes on the plane. They'll figure out. I think there's smart ways to do this. They'll figure it out. Don't you think?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, I think they will. Where there's a will, there's a way.
But they're expensive. So you're investing a lot of money in a bag that if it is, banned at some point, at least the one, which one was it that had the screws that you could take out?
That's Away.
Away. Okay. So both of these, you have options at some point, but you become a big investment in luggage. Luggage already is a big investment.
Well, and I think Murphy's Law for me would be they'd scan my bag, they'd haul it off the plane, and I'd find out when I was waiting for it at the carousel on the other end that it's held up for security.
Exactly.
And they would probably have no good way to get it to me because they're not putting it on another flight.
You have none of your clothes. And,
right. None of my gadgets.
For you, it's a real big deal.
What am I going to review? What am I going to review? I came on vacation to do review items and set up tents.
Going to Macy's before you're going on air, shopping for an outfit.
Aaron, you got one of the best jobs in the world, and I think a lot of folks would love to do what you do, although there's a lot of effort and they don't see all the behind-the-scenes testing, setup, unboxing, videoing, recording, editing, putting it out, writing the article. That's not the fun stuff. We kind of think tech bloggers and reviewers just goof around all day in their jammies and review these things, and it's a lot of work, so we appreciate my wife looked at me, and she's like, they don't? So Aaron, thanks for all the work that you do in doing this, and thanks for coming on. It's always good to have you a part of. I should say, you mentioned in the show notes, you mentioned the mobile VIP packs that we have talked about in the past.
Yes.
And the contact that we have there in Canada still tweets me from time to time, see how things are going, which is pretty cool to get that kind of service. The bag looks as good. It's Targus, right? It's a Targus bag. It looks as good today as it did the day I bought it. And I've carried that thing around. I've taken it on multiple flights to Washington, D.C. The sleeve, I'm in the habit now of just dropping it in there because that sleeve catches it on the way down. Yeah. The pocket on the bottom is perfect for chargers and tripods. And I did have one TSA as I was going through, and the security guy goes, all right, we got to check inside this bag. There's just too much crap in there. And they made me pull out. He's like, what are you doing? It was tripods and holders and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a podcaster. And we
packed exactly the same then because I just did that too.
So they made me, and then only in one place, because it is also zips to open flat, but a lot of airline or a lot of TSA checkpoints are still making me take the laptops out, even though that's available. One, I said, hey, can I unzip this? And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. But most of them are like, nope, take it out. So I'm still, it varies from airport to airport on what kind of, do you have that bag where it'll zip open and one side is the laptop? Do you find in most places they'll let you do that, or do you have to take it out?
In most places in Canada, we aren't allowed to do that yet. At least anywhere I have flown, I would say in about the last year. It's not even an option. I know, like, if I come back from the States, sometimes it is, depending on the airport, but it hasn't really come up here. Anytime I've ever flown in the last year, it's been laptops out in their own bin. Don't put anything else near it. They're very specific about that. I know.
So. Isn't that crazy? It's like, it's treated like it's a biological.
Like it's a threat.
I know. You're like, it's just, they can't see through it. That's the problem, right? They just can't. Yeah. They just can't see through it. So. Very good. Mike, thanks for making it tonight. Good to have you on. It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Through the month of December, we'll see you a little bit more. And then
until that baby comes, we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get, when is the baby due? Number 2?
Due the 27th. of December. But the first one, Emmett, came 3 weeks early. So we're like, well, I mean, it could be any time now. We'll see.
Anytime. And they're letting you stay, KPMG's letting you stay around because of that? Or
yeah, this is my last week traveling. I was in Kansas City earlier, but now I'm back and this is my last week traveling. So that's good. At least I'll be home for sure for it. So
cool. Well, it's good to have you back around so we can quick. Last night, the power went out and I was gracefully shutting everything down. We knew the power company, a tree had fallen and they needed to take the neighborhood down to get to the wires and do some other things. So they warned us. So I was waiting for it to go down and the power it goes off. Now UPSs will hold everything on for probably 15 minutes. So I'm gracefully shutting everything down. And then my Surface is still working. And I turn my phone on and I get the hotspot and I ping Uyghur. And so we're talking. He goes, "Hey, do you still want to chat?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm in the dark. And, all I've got is this little flashlight. I've got this. I think this is even a Windows 10 flashlight."
He said, "Well, I'm in the dark, but I could chat." I'm like, "Well, that sounds creepy, but I'm in. Like, whatever." Sounds
Chat
good to
about
me.
what?
So we kind of chatted about cryptocurrency like this.
But I don't know, Jim. Is it was I more accessible when I'm on the road and I'm literally sitting in a hotel room every night, or now that I'm back home? We'll see.
No, it's either or. Some nights you're
definitely
helping.
Podcast now because it's not a travel night.
Yeah.
Usually Thursday night is a travel night back home. So
yeah, well, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Good to have you back. And so we chatted till the power came back on, and then it was just a crap load of problems from 10 o'clock till 1 a.m. of me getting everything turned back on. So it was
just me watching him. You feel so helpless in that scenario. Like I could drive across town to go help him, but I'm like, I'll pour another drink and I'll just sit here and talk to you while you struggle.
Aaron, he actually went and got some whiskey.
I did.
He got a bottle of whiskey.
Sympathy whiskey.
Yeah, it's actually still over there because that's what we did.
Oh, but I have 9 PCs down here, and so I was getting them all brought back up, and for whatever reason, it was not working very well. So I was up very, very late last night and had thought maybe I'd gotten a serious virus on one of these PCs and they were acting kind of funny. And in the end, no. But I still don't know. Then about 1:15, everything just started working again. And you're like, oh, that's weird. So who knows? It was a late night last night. But Mike, thanks for being around to help me.
That's what I'm here for.
Aaron, hang tight real quick if you can. A couple reminders for folks that are out there. Don't forget, we're in the middle of the December Ghost Browser Challenge. So if you haven't tried it yet, go out, ghostbrowser.com, give it a try, download it, try it. One of the cool things that I've really liked about I've been doing it a week now. We had Kat and Larry on last week. Is when you close Chrome and reopen it, it's fresh. Like it's brand new. Now I probably keep 15 or 20 tabs open at a time. Ghost Browser, close it. Open it, boom, everything's still there. It's pretty cool that way. I like there's a little more management. And I know there's probably plugins in Chrome that do that, right? I know that's probably there, but Ghost Browser just does it automatically.
Well, so I missed last week for anyone who also did this challenge. Is there like a special URL we need to use?
No,
or just give it a shot.
Give it a try. I tried
version 1 and I loved it. So I'm gonna have to try version 2
V2.
again.
V2 is out, and
V2
Larry's
is out,
listening. Okay. If you tweet Ghost_Browser at Ghost_Browser, if you tweet them, Larry will respond back to you. I mean, it's they're listening, they're getting feedback. It's really, really cool.
But I gotta put on the machine.
Aaron, I don't know. Ghost Browser is just a version. It's Chromium, so it's just the Chrome browser, but skinned specifically for productivity. And so they try to do a lot of things to get the browser out of the way and get you more productive, which is pretty cool. We had those guys on last week, but it was really nice. Close the browser, reboot, come back, open it, all the tabs reopen where you were before, no questions asked.
I like that because I'm with you. I've always got like 20 tabs open, usually on 2 browsers at a time. So
yeah, and there's plugins, I'm sure, but I like the fact that well, that was weird. I like the fact that it just does it, and so give it a try, Ghost Browser. And you want to follow them on Twitter, Ghost_Browser. It's a great way to do it. Give it a challenge. Give us some feedback. We'd appreciate it. Don't forget, we mentioned early on, we got some really good pre-show stuff here, and you only get the pre-show and the post-show if you do the Patreon, if you subscribe on Patreon. $1. That's all it is. That's all it takes. We have bigger plans, but $1 will get you on Patreon. Head out to theaverageguy.tv/support, and then you can click on the Patreon link and get signed up. We'll appreciate it if you do. And then every week I'll send the pre and post show, both audio and video is available for you that way. Don't forget, if you've got feedback or you want to get somebody else on the program, if there's somebody we should interview that you'd like to hear on there, send me an email, Jim underscore. That's my Gallup account, Jim@theaverageguy.tv. Shoot me a note on Twitter. That's a good way to do it as well, @JCollison. And then don't forget the AverageGuy.tv platform, both web and media hosting, powered by Maple Grove Partners. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and you trust. And for more information, visit maplegrovepartners.com. Plans, especially for podcasters or bloggers, $10 a month. Pretty reasonable. Of course, Christian makes sure everything is up to snuff. Mike, you got a little help from Christian on your PSN's router, like man-to-man, right? Boom. He just jumped in there.
He jumped in. He's like, hey, can you send me a TeamViewer password? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Jump right in.
Boom. He was in.
Sure enough, he's doing everything.
Guy's serious about it. I think we're going to record another Cyber Frontiers this weekend. So make sure you've resubscribed to that Cyber Frontiers channel if you let it go. Then don't forget, you can get the app, the mobile app. It's available. Thank LastPass for their sponsorship of that. It's available, homegadgetgeeks.com. We had Amber on a couple weeks ago to get caught up with them, and lots of good stuff going on at LastPass. So do that as well. And if you need a bigger T-shirt, and who doesn't need a bigger T-shirt, Mike?
Apparently, I do.
You got giant overnight. It's all that giant. You got swole.
It's the dad bod. Yeah, no, it's the dad bod. It's not getting swole. It's the dad bod.
The average guy.
Hardcore number 2 is coming along, and dad bod kicked in like double. And that's why I can't fit into my Home Gadget shirt.
Overnight. So you need a new one, extra large. Coming
I ordered it. It's already on the way.
/shirt, and lots of options to get it done. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at the AverageGuy.tv live. Thanks to all you in the chat room. Appreciate it. Mark, Rennie, who else is out there? Don, Other Jim, Lopta, Drashna. Ken was out there a little bit earlier. Appreciate you guys coming out tonight. With that, we'll say goodnight, everybody. Aaron, thank you again it's always great to have you on. You are such a pro.
Gosh,
thank you so much.
You bring up the coolest stuff too.
It's so much fun for me, so thanks for asking. I like doing it.
No, Mike and I are gonna hang out a little bit in the post show. We've already taken you for an hour and a half, so we're gonna let you go.
Thank you.
But thanks for coming on, and I will include all those links in the show notes sometime this weekend. It'll go live, and appreciate you coming on. We'll think about spring and getting you back on for your next quarterly update.
Barbecue season.
Oh, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that.
What's it called? Okay, meter.
Meter.
MEATER.
Yeah, I think Mark Robson brought that up.
Did he?
In the barbecue show.
Okay, in the chat he talked about like a quad or a single, and I didn't. Aaron, did you say that's a single or a quad?
That one's a single, but you can get a quad.
Okay.
Apparently, I didn't realize this. You want to.
I think it's like
it comes
a pack of 4,
yeah.
Right? That all connect to the same app, so you can monitor 4 different things at the same time, which is
huge for barbecue and smoking. And
huge. I've got 3 things on my smoker most Saturdays if I'm doing something.
Ooh.
I've got chicken, I've got a roast, I've got like a whatever it is, and so having 3 or 4 of those that come to the same spot is huge. So yeah, I'd be really into that.
I need him on an arrow where I can just shoot him into the bird from
Boom.
That's another gadget. I'll see what I can work up for
or a crossbow. Maybe you would put it in a crossbow. With Star Wars coming up, you got your Chewbacca's crossbow, and it would just right into the turkey, and then close the lid, and then
we're gonna have a segment live from the farm. I'm gonna take the crossbow and do one of these meters and shoot it right into the pulled pork.
All right. Aaron, we'll have you back on to talk about the meter, and you got to try the bacon weaved.
I am totally doing that, and I'm going to check out Ghost Browser tomorrow.
Check it out
for sure.
Check it out. Have a good look. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for coming.
All right, you guys, take care. Have a great night, and congratulations, Mike.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Merry Christmas.
You too, guys.
Take care. Oh man, she's dynamite.
She just brings her A game every time.
She's such a pro.
Such a pro.
It's just great to have
her on. Which is funny because she's not a pod. I mean, she's a video person. That's why. Right? Like she creates content.
Totally.
But she just knows how to. She's quick,
super good at it.
And all my comments, I always feel like I feel like I'm extending this out a long time because you already did it very compactly. Like people were good, and then I asked a stupid question and made you talk longer. They were already good when you talked about it.
Yeah, night Lopta. If we missed you, Lopta said good night, barbecue people.
There you go.
Well, if you're in the chat room, if you're left, we don't get Uyghur very often, so this could be a good chance to ask Mike anything at this point. If you want to do
let
it,
me pour another drink before that happens, because I've been empty for a long time. So.
Oh, I know. I ran out of beer.
Should we do a quick 10-second pause?
Go ahead. No, I'll talk.
It's right here. I got a fridge. Trust me.
Just grab it. Yeah. I have been on the beer side. I have been into Sam Adams lately. I don't know why, but we've been buying way more Sam Adams than I ever have in the past. I think it's the Oktoberfest effect, where we really like the Oktoberfest Sam Adams. And but we picked up some winter lager, which has been really good. There's a White Christmas as well that we've had trouble getting in our area. And both have been just dynamite winter beers. So those are I've been doing that. We've been doing a lot more, although I'm trying to do a lot less. I got to slim down. I'm going to run a half marathon for my 50th birthday, which is coming up this year. And so I need to slim a smidge so I can sneak in a half marathon and get that done. So I got a little bit of work to do. I've been trying to do, I love beer, but I've been trying to drink a little bit less. That's not going as helpful. Did pick up, and I guess maybe I'll do a full review on the show at some point, but I did pick up the Fitbit Alta. This was a gift from work for my 10th anniversary, which was kind of cool. Yeah. And I would have preferred the Alta HR, the one with the heart rate, but it's okay. I get a little crazy on the heart rate thing, so maybe it's better that I don't have it on there. But I've been wearing this now for a week, wearing it to bed, to sleep, kind of doing some sleep tracking, doing some fitness. When you work out, you don't set anything. It just detects that you're starting to work out. And
really? Okay. That's a big feature in itself. Yeah. I wish that the Apple Watch did that better. I think they totally could, but they don't. Oh, Nathaniel, look at that.
Yeah. He was listening on the app. How did we sound on the app? That's I always I think it sounds pretty good. But
speaking of an app, we can talk about this later, Jim, if you don't want to talk about it in post show. I just got an email today. So we got back into the podcast world with Suit and Scrubs. So I've been getting all, of course, like the podcasting emails. There was just one where they are doing an app. Okay. Igloo Radio Podcaster. You can get an app for $14 a month with no upfront cost. Apparently they used to have, like Spreaker did, an upfront cost, but now you can have an app for your podcast for $14 a month. It was just kind of interesting compared to Spreaker, because I think the Spreaker app is great.
It's $100 a year.
I'm just saying it offers a big advantage for your podcast. I really like it.
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah. No, I like having it. I've been
because there's so many people who say, okay, how do I subscribe to that? And they're always on Android because I can't tell them on iPhone to just, open up the podcast app and search us.
I probably don't say that enough.
I would do the Android version. I don't know. There's a lot of iOS people too that don't even have the podcast app, but
we've had hundreds download that app. So it's out there.
That's my point. Like, look at that. That's hundreds of people that probably wouldn't have been listeners before. I'm guessing a lot of those, I guess Nathaniel's out there. He has the app and he listens live.
Well, and I think Nathaniel's a guy like Kevin who learned early on the easiest way to listen to us live, if you're on the road, is on the app.
Oh,
yeah. That's hands down.
I would almost say the only way. I've tried going on if you're on literally in the car, you need the app. So they actually restrict you, though. It's kind of funny. You need 5 episodes on Spreaker before you can get the app. And I are ready to pull the trigger. And then, so I created the app, got all the way through the process, and they said, hey, you need 5 episodes. Well, since that time, Spreaker keeps sending me emails like, hey, finish up the app. Why don't you buy the app? You started it. Why don't you finish? I'm like, I would love to, but you set a restriction on 5 episodes. Trust me, our listeners are all not tech people. Yeah. They would love an app. They are the perfect listener base for an app, and we can't do it yet.
Yeah. No, an app. It's I love having the app. I probably get 10 to 15 listens a week through the app on the live stream.
Does it tell you even not on live though? Like I bet there's a lot of people that not live use the app to listen to the show.
It's very possible, and those then become streaming numbers that
exactly
land in
I
stats.
think those are actually pretty high.
But I'll get a report. So when we end this in 10 minutes, I get a report from Spreaker that says, hey, your live show and it's always over 10, which is amazing to me. I'm like, who are those 10 people that are doing it every week?
Nathaniel's
And
got 10 phones in his car. He hasn't told us this. He
They're
carries
all
around 10
it's all
devices.
Chromebooks.
So yeah, it's all Chromebooks, all with the app loaded up. But yeah, I think the app is great. So I was looking. There's just a lot of other people trying to come out with that now. Hey, we want to be the app for your podcast.
Nathaniel tried YouTube Live, and he said the app was better. Yeah, and you shouldn't be watching YouTube in your car.
And I totally, on this podcast, I was so obsessed with having like, okay, everyone can access me everywhere on Uyghur. Like, I was just so into it. On this one, I'm like, all I want to do is make it easy for my listeners, and I am not worried about anything else. Like the show notes, nothing. It's so when you just lose the focus on everything, it's just like becomes just a lot easier to publish stuff. I mean, so I don't know. I've had a lot of fun with it.
I had somebody ask me about Roger and the radio station. Has that did he stop? Because that was a low power FM station, right?
You know, that is a very good. I have not kept up with Roger.
Yeah.
Ever since I stopped doing open mic night, that was my only connection to Roger. He did not. We never had a Suit and Scrubs connection on him. But you know what? Let me give everyone an update right now and see if at least he's still doing it. I think he is. I think actually he got back into it harder than he was before.
Okay.
We will check though. Oh man.
The right now I'm mining about 500 Sia coins a day. So we were talking about this in the pre-show, and then we got cut off by the real show. And I said I'm going to try and get to 10,000. I think that's where I'm at, right? At 500 a day, which is about what I'm doing right now. It doesn't take too long to get to 10,000.
Well, and I told you, like right before the show started, that word from you said, okay, it convinced me. I switched my miner over. I think you're right, because I was doing MinerGate and I started thinking to myself, like, they pay you out in the coin you do. So, okay, really, like it's the same exact thing as doing Sia. I believe in Sia. Why not mine Sia and get to a high amount?
Yeah.
And right now you can mine Sia, and it's only for not much longer that you can mine Sia with GPUs and be profitable.
I think February or March.
I was just going to ask you that.
Nathaniel, so Nice Hash got hacked yesterday or 2 days ago, and $60 million worth of Bitcoin disappeared. And that includes some from Mike and some from me. And so if you go to nicehash.com right now, the site that will explain what they're going through. This is the early growth pains of cryptocurrency. And so there's going to be, so I think Mike and I would both go back to Nice Hash if they brought their service back up. It worked fairly well. Although that Wind Miner, if I can get over the fact that it's a gigantic virus, because I think it is. I mean,
okay, you scared me with that actually. So we need to talk about that.
Because I went out and Googled.
Switched originally to Wind Miner,
and I went to Wind Miner.
Run people down like the exact process that happened.
What do you mean?
It's in post, like I mean, you and I were talking all day once Nice Hash got hacked of what we're doing. And I at least switched miners 5 times.
Yeah.
Like what my process was after Nice Hash went down.
I don't know. Anybody else listening mining at this point? Maybe we should probably ask that.
Yeah, probably not. Anyway.
Yeah.
When they got hacked, there's 2 options. We'll summarize this.
Yeah.
There's 2 options, right? You can go to another pool. You can mine with a pool, or you can mine directly. Now, the difference being what Nice Hash offered, the biggest reason Nice Hash was the choice for everyone was because they switched, number one, they had orders coming in saying, hey, we want you to mine this. And they would send that to their miners, and you would be making the most profit based on what those orders were paying Nice Hash, not necessarily what the most profitable coin was. Ethereum could be the most profitable mined coin, but they're not getting orders for that right now. So you're not mining that. Sorry. That Pepsi, I tell you. But essentially they would pay you out in Bitcoin, which people really liked that because no matter what you mined, you knew what you're getting paid out in. So number one, you were always mining the most profitable coin. And number two, you were getting paid out in a single coin, Bitcoin, which you could track easily. It went into one wallet. It was simple. That service is actually, it sounds super simple, but it's very rare. So you don't see a lot of other services. You see services where you can mine multiple coins, but not that pay you out in one. And number two, not that switch with what is most profitable. Minergate, for example, they switched to what is in highest demand at the time, the highest exchange rate, which like right now Monero is doing, but they don't do the order system, which NiceHash had an order system, which actually helped you. Minergate is great, but NiceHash really showed demand from the market, whereas Minergate only shows demand on what crypto is doing well at the time. So there's a difference there. You really don't want to be mining the crypto is doing well at the time. Okay, that does you great. So Monero is doing fine, which is if you get on Minergate right now, I guarantee if you're on AMD, at least that's what I'm on, your rig will be mining Monero. Whereas NiceHash will switch you back and forth from what the demand is from the market.
Well, but it's different if you're going to buy, if you're mining and selling, you want to mine the most expensive coin to sell right away.
Well, it depends. Are you getting paid out in what you're mining, or are you getting paid out in Bitcoin?
Well, let's just say for a second, if you're getting paid out in the coin that you're mining, like Minergate.
So true. Then you want to be on something like Minergate,
right?
Where you're getting paid out in, because then you're taking a bet that what you're mining is going to be more profitable in the future. So Minergate, when I mine Monero, I get Monero. Right. I don't get Bitcoin.
And I like that. I actually like that idea. So today to get Bitcoin,
even altcoin,
NiceHash, yeah. NiceHash was a nice, easy way to get Bitcoin, right? It was just easy, and you could get it and hold it, or get it. In my case, I was using it to buy, like I showed you earlier. Like this came today. Now this was
right.
I ordered this, and I had full intention of moving money from, and this is a 1060. I had fully intended to move money from NiceHash into my Coinbase wallet and then to pay for this. And then the wallets got compromised. The timing couldn't have been any worse.
Could not have been absolutely any worse.
Perfectly worse is what it was. It's okay. It's $200. It's not that big of a deal. So, but my goal was to acquire enough equipment to do then I could do some serious mining, because with 4 cards, you can really get after some stuff, right? And so, Mike, I've been kind of thinking like,
where I'm at.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to think I'd like to kind of own big blocks of different altcoins and then hold. So mine a bunch of Monero, like turn everything on to Monero, mine a bunch of it, throw in a bunch of a wallet, take it offline, throw a bunch in a wallet, and forget about it, right? Then mine a bunch of Messiah, mine a bunch of Phantom Coin, mine a bunch of Ethereum, whatever, right? Whatever you're, kind of take this, get to some ridiculous number, whatever it is, 100, 200. Saya, in our case, you can mine. I have these 4 miners turned on to it right now. Well, and I don't even have this other one. This one's not even engaged yet. Like, it's still in the box. I haven't taken it out yet. And I'm doing 500 coin a day on that thing. Now, Saya is worth nothing. Don't get me wrong. It's worth 0. I mean,
so it's primed to be great, right? Because we've seen massive gains with it. So for Saya is worth right now almost a penny US dollar. So if that jumps to $1, if people all of a sudden see the value of Saya, you look at the value of other cryptocurrencies, how easy it is to get to at least $1. If Jim's mining 500 of these a day at less than a penny, and this jumps to $1, that's where you see the benefit of that style of mining.
So the payoff, the energy, I'm paying the energy today for a future return.
Yeah, like you're definitely paying it today, because you're mining at a negative today. The energy cost for mining Saya is negative. Now, Jim's got me convinced right now, because NiceHash is down. So it's like a bunch of chickens running around with their head cut off. We don't know what to do. We're just running around like freaking out. NiceHash is down. What do we do? So he's got me. I have gone back and forth with about 3 different miners, and now I'm back on Saya, because I believe in Saya in the product.
But mine's easy right now. The difficulty's down. The numbers of miners are down.
Well, that's true with a lot of other currencies, though.
When you mine in pools, yeah, but we like this one because it's
that was going to be my next point.
We
right?
know it.
You and I know it, and actually, for me, Jim, you might have to get into your storage cover. Like I am like all Saya. Like when it comes to file storage on the blockchain, for me it's Saya. I only talk about Saya. I actually have a real big hatred for storage now, which actually, if the last time you guys listened to the podcast, I might have been all storage. And since then, the community,
I think Ken's doing storage.
the mining has, I can't support him myself. So I switched not to go against Jim. And this is kind of fun. Maybe you guys will get some banter between Jim and I on what we agree with. So I believe in Saya right now. So I'm willing to take my mining rig, like we just talked about 10 minutes ago. All of my 4 cards. So I have 4 cards too. They're all AMD. They're R480s is what they are for the AMD side. They're all mining Saya right now because I see it as, it's like Jim said, very cheap, very easy to mine. We're getting tons of profit, 500 plus a day. For my 4 cards, I'm getting a little bit more than that because Jim's only running 3. Once he plugs in that 4th card, he's going to be caught up to me. We'll be doing both the same. And I think Saya is the way to go. So I really believe in Saya more than the other cards. But basically, sorry.
No.
I've been getting around to what I've been trying to get to, which is my main point here, is that Jim and I had this conversation about maybe 2 weeks ago. And we said, hey, who's being the biggest risk taker here? Because if you invest your time and your computing power, which is mining, if you invest this into one coin, let's say Bitcoin, right? You are putting all your eggs in one basket that Bitcoin will go up or down, and you're pretty much risking off one coin. Now, in previous episodes, we may have stated that is the risky sense, right? If you are doing nice hash, you are risking yourself by saying, hey, or if your investment strategy, whatever it is, mining, investment, any strategy, if you are investing in one coin, that's really risky. But Jim and I had this conversation. It's kind of a fun conversation to have where he said, hey, well, what if you invest, like you just said, in a bunch of other altcoins and you say that, hey, I'm going to turn my mining power over to Saya or to any other coin like Saya that has literally less than a penny value in the American dollar. But I'm banking on the fact that they go up. And Jim, I think we had a deeper conversation, so you can correct me, like fill in the blanks here. But we kind of talked about which is riskier, right? You look at Bitcoin, which at the time was going up and down. Now it's only going up, which is insane right now. Like we don't even need to talk about the upward trajectory of Bitcoin because it's not going to continue the way it's going. I can just tell you it's not going to go this way.
We keep saying that though, and it's at 16,005 right now.
No,
right?
I'll correct you. We keep saying that, but I'm talking like the month of August and September where Bitcoin was up, it was down. In the past week, people have doubled their money. I'm not okay with that. Like this is not a trajectory. The past week, people who got into cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, they have a false sense of what is okay because it has only gone up. If you have been in this since April or 2016, 15, 14, 13, go back as far as you want to. You've understood that there are ups and downs. People who have got in the last month only see ups. So I worry that we're really we're bringing in all these investors who see ups and they don't know about downs. Now, I have a friend like that. I have an old co-host and he doesn't watch this show, so I can talk shit about him. He invested 3 months after me and he has sold bot, and it killed him. He's only made like if you look at percentage wise, nothing based off of his original investment. His investment style is when it goes down, he sells. And when it goes up, if you just hold, it holds through. And I worry that you have investors like him who are coming in now. Man, I've doubled my money since last Friday. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then when it goes down, they sell. And then when they go up, they buy. Now, is that good overall for cryptocurrency? Yes, we need those investors actually. Like when you look at long-term investing, you need the investors who are in and out real quick because it levels the market. Right now, cryptocurrency in the past has been when people sell, it drops. When people buy, it raises. You need the average investor, which is what cryptocurrency does not have. They do not have the average investor who buys and sells based off speculation. We have a lot of people who hold because we believe in it, and we have a lot of people who sell because they want profit. And that really makes our market go like this, go up and down like crazy. So what you need is the average investor. Okay, so what does it take to get the average investor in? It takes real good speculation, which the market has right now. People are jumping into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because the news and all the big websites say buy it now. It's look at this, look at the returns. It's freaking awesome, man. You've doubled your money in a week. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we need that type of hype because it really helps the market, especially for people like us who have been in it for a while. So you need those type of investors, but it also scares me because you also are pulling in people who only see the good side of investing. Now, am I okay with those people losing their money so that my market share goes up because I believe in it? Yes. I mean, I'll just say, yeah, sure. I'm okay with all you coming in being really like, it's awesome. When you first lose your money, you sell. That makes my value go up. Yeah, sure. I'm okay with that. But this is actually a really good thing, I think. And this is, Jim, kind of what I want to get into for the cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoin. You and I have gone back and forth on whether Bitcoin is the future. I think we both agree it's not. This is not going to be the coin that wins. This is the coin that's winning now. And this is the coin that is going to bridge.
This is the MySpace of coins. Yeah.
That is okay. That is the perfect. Have you said that to me before?
I don't know.
If you have, I wasn't listening, because that's the perfect bridge of the gap. Because it's the platform that brings you into the future, but is not going to be the future, right? MySpace was the social media of the future. It got you into the idea that there was social media, but it didn't end up winning out. And that's what Bitcoin is right now. They weren't scalable.
They didn't think through all the problems, and that's where Bitcoin is today. They've got some real problems. Yeah.
Right, they have some real big problems, and so I think we're going to see this now. But I really do like the fact that we're getting a lot of investors. And if you right now are looking at cryptocurrency and you're seeing a lot of movement in the market, and you're seeing a lot of upward trajectory with Bitcoin, and you see Ethereum and Litecoin and all these other ones staying about the same, going down, coming up. Just know that this market is just now leveling out, and that's not even relative. That's relative to cryptocurrency. That's not relative to like the to the New York Stock Exchange, right? We are just now getting the investors that level it out. You need investors that buy and sell on just a whim. And that hasn't existed in cryptocurrency yet. You've had the believers and you've had the people who are in it for profit. You haven't had the middle investor in the cryptocurrency market. So I think we're going to start to see that. And that's going to have a big, huge effect on the prices of cryptocurrency. And we are in a week right now. If you look at the prices in the last week of Bitcoin, you will never see this again. You will never, ever in the future.
We've said that a couple times.
No. I'm talking about a week, Jim. I'm talking about 1 week.
True.
This is the news cycle. If you've kept up on the news cycle, it has been insane. Like, absolutely insane. That's what I'm talking about. It took the news getting the average investor into cryptocurrency, and that's what's happened in the last week. And maybe we'll see another burst like this in the future, like the news cycle really picking it up. But I think we've had the 4 years since 2013 when Bitcoin came around for all of you and I to be into Bitcoin, and now the news cycle has picked up the rest of the people. And it's something that our market needed really, really bad. I'm really excited it happened. I know a lot of people are going to make money. I know a lot of people are going to lose money, but trust me, the cryptocurrency market needed a surge of investors in it that were different than the original investors. At least that's my belief. So now that I've gone on my 40-minute rant, Jim, you can correct me on any issue that you agree, but I don't know. That's just been my take on the past few months of crypto, and it's been interesting to watch it.
Yeah. No, for me, the interest is not in Bitcoin, which it's there. I mean, it helped me buy some equipment, some other stuff, but it's really in the blockchain. And it's really about the different offerings that are coming on the blockchain. Like what else is out there? We looked at 3 different storage options, right? We have Saya, which stores all data. You make a relationship between a buyer and a seller. It's a one-to-one relationship of storage.
Right.
I have data, you're going to store it. That's Saya, right? Storage, or storage, which breaks it up into shards and splits it across all the storage that's available, securing it. That's more like the Walla offering from way back before your time, Mike Weger, before your time. So they break it into shards, and then the storage, they determine at what amount you're storing, and they try to come up with this fair market value, and then they pay you out in these coins or converted to cash, right? And then there's a new one called Burst. It's not really new. It's been around for a while, but another one called Burst. And that actually that uses your hard drive storage to hash. It's low power hashing. And actually, Mike, I think the future of these coins is in low power hashing, not in these high intense ASIC miner Bitcoin like hashing that takes so much energy. It's not sustainable. Like, these coins cannot continue to be profitable if it's going to take this much energy to get them done. We got to get lower power alternatives out there. Burst is the beginning of that idea. There's a new one called SJ. Hold on, let me look it up really quick. Called JSE coin. I knew that didn't sound right when I was saying it. It stands for JavaScript embedded, and that's one that runs low power hashing in your browser, right? You don't even need, it'll run off your CPU, right? Low power, low hash rates, low payouts, because those coins aren't worth as much, but for now. So I like those, Mike. I like this idea that in those three that I mentioned for storage, those are real products. Like, this is helping people store things, store data, back it up, safeguard it, whatever, right? That's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Bitcoin's not even real. It's just, all it does is transact value. And that's important, right? Edward has said several times, the value of Bitcoin is to be able to move money across borders efficiently, lower fees, right? That's the value of Bitcoin. That's why it does so well. Some of these altcoins have real products behind them. And so I get kind of excited when I see Saya. And I, will they make $1? Probably at some point. Who knows? Not all that worried about it, but I want to be interested in it. So I want to watch how they proceed. I'm a storage guy, right? So
Yeah.
I want to see how the storage comes along. And I like Storj. Let's just call it that, because it's that way it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Storj because they've got this idea of really disrupting. They now are partnered with FileZilla, and that Storj is going to be a file option. It's going to be a storage option for them. I like that. That's innovation. That's cool. That's what we should be doing. So
you love the blockchain.
I do.
What this comes down to, and I totally agree with you. I'm split, right? Like, half of Mike Uyghur is, I love technology going forward and I like the progression, and half of me is profit driven. So like, you get half and half of me depending on what you talk to. But if you are blockchain driven, which I personally am 100%, I think the blockchain has revolutionized a lot of industries. If you need a selling point, by the way, a lot of people say, hey, Mike, can you give me just like a quick 2-second of why blockchain has changed the world? Here's your 5 seconds. If you want Jim, what's that app called where you can like take 8 seconds of an app or 8 seconds of audio?
It used to
Anchor
be,
or something like that.
Well, Anchor will do it now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's your thing. The blockchain solved the double spend problem in online cryptography. Before, when you send a PowerPoint presentation from your email to someone else, it copies it. There's no way to tell if the version I sent you is the original or a copy. So the blockchain has solved the double spend problem, which is, I know if this is original or I know this is a copy. It has solved that in the online world. No other technology has done that. I mean, that is why blockchain is such a big deal. If you want to know why blockchain has changed the world, that is why. It solved one of the biggest problems in cryptography online ever. So there we go. That is why Jim and I are so blockchain focused, right? That's why we care so much about it. Now, on the side, do Jim and I care about profit? Yeah, sure. Why not? Right? Because you can. Like, why not? We can mine, we can make it happen. You guys all should know as listeners that Jim and I mainly care about blockchain, the technology, how it drives the internet. And if we can make some money mining, sure, that's awesome. That's really cool. We love to talk about it, but we really like how blockchain is going forward. Now, set that aside for a second. I think that all of the blockchain technology is super, super cool, because in my industry, in public accounting, if you went into public accounting firms, you're going to love blockchain, because if any of your big clients go onto the blockchain Talk about being an auditor. How awesome is that? Your general ledger is now a blockchain that if I'm a node on your blockchain, I can see your entire general ledger. I can audit it, and like I can almost automate your auditing. I can make it so much cheaper for you. Public auditing, all this sort of stuff is super expensive. Look at the fees that any public company pays to KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, any of us. I mean, it's EY. I forgot EY, maybe on purpose. You know, you look at those fees and but if you look at blockchain and what it can do for the GL of any sort of company, and even beyond the GL, use blockchain for anything, it's huge. So I am super excited for the future of blockchain. I think Jim is completely 100% right. You look at all these miners and you say, the power is way too much. I think they've come out with a lot of articles. You can Google and find how much power it takes to process one Bitcoin transaction. And it's insanely high. Now, this is because, if we want to give context to why that is so high, it's because these blockchains, these cryptocurrencies, if you look at Bitcoin, all of them, they have this plan, right? And this plan spans, let's just use 10 years as an example. They said, okay, we need 10 years and we need to reward our miners. We need to reward the people who are securing our network, because that's what miners are. If you don't have miners, your network is not secure. You are not decentralized, which is the entire point of cryptocurrency. Decentralization is like the point. And if you don't have a lot of miners, you're not decentralized, you're centralized, which is what you don't want to be. So we need to reward these guys, right? So they have a plan where we are going to issue out this new currency, right? New Bitcoin that has never seen the market before. We're going to give that to miners for securing our network. And their plan is based on a certain time span. And so they have this, it's called, you know, your degree of complexity, right? Of solving these problems, which mining is all you're doing is solving math equations. So when you go to Bitcoin, the reason that you can't get into Bitcoin mining is because they have machines that are way more efficient at solving these problems than you are. And that difficulty, that degree of difficulty, has caused it to be that GPUs and the average miner can't mine. So you have all these other people that are getting into it and doing it. So basically, all these cryptocurrencies could easily bring it back and have it take less energy to solve, to transact. But they're not going to do that, because if they brought back the difficulty and made it less efficient, cost less energy, that means they're paying out way more of these miner costs way faster, which means that soon, next year, the year after that, 3 months from now, your miners aren't going to get paid a reward for mining, and they might, I'm not going to say they will, their speculation is that they might drop and not mine anymore. All of a sudden, Bitcoin doesn't have the mining population. It becomes way less secure. It all goes kaput. So it's all for a reason, but Jim is 100% completely right that you have become the most costly transaction ever. I send 3 Bitcoin to Jim, and that costs like the average electricity for a house for 3 months. I don't know. There's some statistic out there that confirms that, but it's something like that. So,
yeah.
Where did I even start with that, Jim? I don't
There
even
you
know.
go. I don't know, man, but you were going. I was just
That was
I was letting you preach.
Yeah, sorry. That was
no. It's I think it's good to
get back to your point. All you said, I think, was that it costs a lot of money to do one transaction, and I think I talked for a while.
Well, it takes a lot of time. It takes, you know, there's just a lot more to it as we.
Well, there's a lot of basic thing about mining too that I think a lot of the general public could use to know, right? The public who's not into mining.
Yeah. Ken is out there in the chat room. He's been talking about Burst. I mentioned Burst coin, you know, and what's really interesting about Burst, you know, everything about securing the network is about discovering these numbers. All miners do is guess numbers, and they throw it at the blockchain and say, is this it? 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 And the blockchain goes, yes. And then boom, that number is accepted, and that's a block, right? That's what you have. Big, long number. It takes a ton of computational power, but it's guessing. And in Bitcoin's case, you have all these people.
That's why it's called a hash rate, right? You're trying to guess the hash.
Yeah, you're guessing that hash. And I'm going somewhere with this, Ken, so hang tight. So with Bitcoin, guess, and then in the original setup, whoever guessed it right got the coin. But that doesn't happen all the time. right? It happens only so often. And the faster miners got more. Well, what they figured out is they could pool their resources together and compete and then split those winnings, split those coins over those pools. And so pools have become a very popular thing to do when it comes to hashing. What Burst is doing is, instead of running calculations off the GPU, it plots those calculations onto your hard drive. Then when the block sends out, there's these plotters. The more space you have, the more things you can plot. And then when the block opens up and we're competing for it, it's scanning those drives to find the solution to that problem. And it says, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Well, a hard drive, a pre-plotted math calculation, is less energy to find on a hard drive than it is for a GPU to calculate it.
Completely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because GPU calculates and goes on to the next thing. Calculates next. Calculate next. Plotters write them one time and then have those tables, so to speak. That's not the right terminology, but have those plotters to find it. So when you have hard drive that are infinitely less expensive to run, these 1060s, Mike, what do you think full speed wattage? What do you think I'm running? 200 and
on how many?
One GPU, a 1060 or a 490, 480. What do you remember what you're running?
So I run 4 cards plus the system at 800.
But each one runs 800 watts.
To be, yeah.
So let's say a couple hundred
less
watts.
than 200.
Yeah, 150 to 200 watts. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Hard drive runs at 5.
175, probably even more than that, because the system doesn't take anything on my mining rig. So,
yeah. So a hard drive runs at 5 watts.
Yeah.
Something like that. So you can see the instant energy efficiency and doing something like that. This JavaScript miner uses a little bit of GPU, and instead of focusing on just winning so many calculations, it just slows the whole thing down. So it doesn't take as much energy to secure that blockchain. So I'm kind of excited about these lower energy solutions. Now, I still have 4 cards, and I'm still gonna run these things. I'm gonna put one in tonight, maybe, even if we get out of here at some decent time. And I'm running. Right now I've got 3 and probably a 3.2 maybe. I've got an old 650, an NVIDIA 650 that's not very efficient. Those are running right now mining Saya. And I'm running at a rate of about 550 coins an hour. No, sorry, a day. I can mine 550 coins. There are very few coins right now that have a difficulty that low that would allow an average miner, and I'm in a pool doing this. I'm not doing this alone, but I'm in a pool that, Mike, when you and I started doing Saya mining, that pool was 25,000 people. It's now down to 8,000. Because the coins come in hard times, right? It's these miners who are looking for the most valuable coin.
And ASICs are coming on the horizon.
And ASICs are coming, right? For Saya. But I think I could probably mine, if that's all I did, I could probably mine either between now and the ASICs come, maybe 100,000 Saya coins. I probably could if that's all I did. Is that the right thing to do? I don't know. But
it's
because
that risk thing. Sorry, I got away from that too, and I came back to it. Basically, do you risk it on one coin or do you risk it on multiple coins? What are you going to do? And we both come to different terms on that, right? Yeah. That's what are you going to do?
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Saya till 10,000 because I can do that before Christmas at this point. And then I'm going to look at some alternatives for Monero. And I'm going to do a little bit of research on WinMiner and MinerGate, because they throw antivirus, and every time antivirus flags like crazy. And every time I talk to somebody about that in the industry, they're like, oh, okay, so here's the deal. The miners, these DOS miners, have code in them that are the same. It carries the same code, or the antivirus companies, because virus manufacturers use some of that code in their viruses, it flags it. And
which has to be true, because NiceHash even got flagged on my machine.
Yeah. It just it scares me, Mike, a little bit. I'm a little concerned. I got a little freaked out last night when everything was going down and things were disappearing. And I was like, oh my God, right at this point. So yeah. So Mark says the Average Guy podcast mining group. Yeah, well, we could do it, except there's already groups out there pools you can already join, which is pretty cool. I tried to start a Boink group here at the Average Guy. Nobody joined it. So I couldn't get anybody mining.
Yeah, there's no profit in that though.
Yeah.
Now there's profit.
Yeah, there's profit now, right? With GRC.
But now with a 5-person mining pool, I can tell you that.
No, not there. But so I think I'm going to run Sia to 10,000. Look for alternatives to mine Monero, because I think Monero is one of the next one. I kind of was a little short-sighted when I bought these 3 gig cards. You really need 4 gigs or more to mine Ethereum, and I didn't know that, and so I'm a little limited at this point on mining Ethereum.
Well, we all would have been though. With NiceHash, you don't have that limitation, so you wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah, but still.
I think the biggest thing to understand here too is, and sorry if I keep going to very basic rudimentary explanations of this, but when it comes to mining, the reason you join a pool is because if you are mining by yourself, so when it comes back to the 2 options I explained to you earlier, if you mine by yourself with no pool and you say, hey, mine Ethereum, if you don't hit a block reward, which means if you don't solve that math equation before anyone else in the entire world, you get paid 0. Like, your reward is absolutely 0. It's nothing. So the reason that you go into a pool is because what pools say, hey, the odds of us hitting a block reward, the odds of one of the members in our group hitting that equation on the money, it's pretty much like hitting the lottery. Think of it like that, like your computer is having to solve a math problem that every other computer on the world is also trying to solve. When they do that, they say, hey, our chances of hitting that block reward of one of our members doing that is a lot better in numbers. If we have 100,000 people trying to solve the same math problem that everyone is trying to solve individually, we have a lot bigger chance of hitting it. So when Jim and I are talking about joining these pools, the advantages of joining a pool is really significant, because if you are a solo miner, if you're going to mine on your own, you're not going to make, you're literally playing the lottery in the biggest sense, because you have to hit a block reward. You have to mine a block for you to hit. And in Bitcoin, just bid those odds farewell.
Those days are over.
That's why no one mines Bitcoin. If you're talking Ethereum, might as well say
people do big operations, right? Big operations still mine Bitcoin.
That's my point.
Right.
Is that if you either join a pool, or you have a warehouse full of graphics cards, or if you're a solo guy in your basement like Jim and I are, literally both in our basement, it's not a slam on either of us, you join a pool. It teams us up with other guys like us. So that is the biggest part, and that's what NiceHash took away, was the probability aspect, whereas they were taking direct orders. They were not a pool. It's people think NiceHash was a pool. It's not. NiceHash said, hey, we have a business here. We have orders for hashing power. We have miners who have hashing power. We match those up together. That is how we do our calculation. They were not a pool. So the reason this was such a big deal was because people like Jim and I, who have usually, besides Sia, not been part of many pools, said, hey, is there any solution like NiceHash? We really quickly realized no. And now we're going to have to start joining these pools. And so that's the reason why pools are so significant in the mining industry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jim. I feel like I'm hijacking these for very kind of explanations of this stuff, but it's stuff that took me a very long time to learn. And so if there's any sort of, if you want to kind of put a title on this post show, it's hey, if you want to get into mining, here's kind of the explanation of it.
Yeah.
We've gone very in depth. We've gone very high level, all in the same conversation.
Well, and I've tried, these 3 storage coins that I've been following. So Storage, Sia.
What's the third one?
Burst.
Oh, Burst is storage too.
Well,
I totally missed that whole
not
concept.
technically storage. It calculates the blockchain using hard drives, plotted space. So the more space you have, the more you can plot, right?
That's why. That's why you call it storage, because you need the storage space to mine. Whereas, gotcha.
Yeah. And it's low power, right?
Understood.
Relatively low power.
Yeah, same thing.
So all 3 of them I've had trouble with. So Sia, it's easy to mine, but I've had trouble. You can sell this. You can also sell hard drive space to people and make Sia coin, right? Well, I'm having trouble right now. It's like I can't. I'm having trouble getting contracts there. You're getting them, but I'm not. So I've got a local problem here. I can't figure that out. Storage I updated today. It was working. I updated they had a software upgrade. I updated it. Now nothing's working again. So I gotta go back and figure that one out. And that community, the Storage community, is a freaking nightmare.
That's what I mentioned earlier. So I mean, we talked about this.
It's just an awful community. In the mods are horrible. So it's just a terrible community. But
if you've never been involved in a community before, I hadn't either.
Yeah.
Before cryptocurrency, and it makes a huge difference. If you're trying to make something successful, they're not doing a very good job with their community. Whereas Storage on the opposite end has a fantastic community.
No, Storage is the terrible one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Saya has a fantastic community.
Great.
Storage's community is awful. Yeah, because you have questions and they need to be answered, and the forums is where you go.
And the burst community was really helpful, but the equipment I was using literally bursted. It was that I was using I was going to use that Kangaroo PC to run burst because
yours literally burst.
Literally bursted.
Okay.
Like I was getting ready to pull it down because we're not really using it in the kitchen. And I thought, oh man, this Kangaroo would be awesome for burst. So I was going to rip it off the wall, which I ripped almost all the drywall off the wall. And I had put tape on that thing to stick it to the wall. I ruined the wall in the process. But
mine's under my living room TV, so I'm really worried it's going to do that. It hasn't yet, but it's my security camera monitor. That's what
checking on it. Just don't run Boink on it.
It doesn't. The processing power is like 0.
Oh, good. Yeah, you'll be fine then.
So we're good.
I just heated that thing up to the temperature of the sun way too many times. But burst doesn't use that much processing power, so that'll make a good one for that. So I'm having trouble with all three. So it is so Ken's telling me just to reinstall. So that's good, Ken. I did that right before the show. I mean, I just installed it the first time before the show, and he says it fixes a lot of things. So I'll give it. In fact, I'll do it while we're talking.
And I thought about that too. Was giving it a shot. Interesting side note is that Saya. I'm going to mix these two up. Saya, when you say, "Hey, you can use this amount of storage," it actually blocks it out on the hard drive. I show 0 disk space on all of my hard drives. Storage didn't do that. Storage only took up the space it used. Let's say I had a 2 terabyte hard drive. I offered up 1.5.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because it didn't. Saya did not do that for me.
I'm 100% positive on mine. Yeah, it earmarks it.
Yeah, it earmarks the section, but it doesn't take it because I got it running on the Drobo.
Well, it earmarks it so your file system doesn't think it can put it there. If I try and move a 500 gig file to one of those storages right now, which I've tried to do, it says it's full, or it doesn't have enough space.
Okay.
So, and if you look at, I could do a screen share. But on my Saya, all my disks, which are local, that have Storage assigned to them, say they're completely full.
Okay.
Even though they're not, obviously. Obviously, I only have 740 gigs of Saya storage on my drives, and I have 4 terabytes available. All those 4 terabytes is taken. Now,
Burst is that way too, by the way.
When I take away my confidence, I'm 100% confident that's happening on my system, Jim.
Yeah.
And I really want to know what's happening. Is that not true on yours?
I don't think it is.
So, so to be fair though,
because in the Saya wallet,
your Saya has been really just weird out on
it. It has been weird.
So mine's been slowly, and I brought it back down to 100 today. I caved, Jim. I had my price up super high on Saya, and I brought it down to normal levels.
Yeah, my Saya wallet, right? So I go to the hosting page and I look at I have 2 drives off the Drobo set aside, and it says, the max storage is 2 gig per, and then I'm using 1.9 or 1.988 is free. And I'm pretty sure.
Wait, you're looking at that in Saya, or are you looking at that in your File Explorer?
No, in the Saya. So
now try and go to your File Explorer, go to like this computer and see what it says. And it says mine's full. And I try and copy a big file, and it says can't. I'll try and move my entire security camera folder, which is like 2 terabytes, over to a 4 terabyte drive, half of which is taken up by Saya, and it says, I can't do it.
Okay, you're right. It says
it blocks
size.
it out.
Yeah, it does block it out. You're right.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
I'm
size
just
on
saying,
disk. Size on disk is smaller.
That's
then,
my
yeah,
point.
you're right.
Is that like, although Saya says I'm only taking up a quarter of what I need, if you blocked off a terabyte, I'm blocking off a terabyte. So,
Yes.
but okay, I'm not meaning to brag. My Saya is running fantastically in the past day. Once I moved it down to 100, it's just shot up. Yeah, I just keep going up in storage. I don't know why. See, and this is the weird part, Jim. This is why it's so much fun, because you and I have gone back and forth. I think back on the storage days, whatever. You were actually doing very well, and mine was just trying to PC. I can't think of the way you and I don't communicate about this. It's just doing terrible. It was doing terrible. And so maybe that's why I have some bias against Storage A, is that mine was kind of like yours on Saya, whereas mine was not doing well at all, and yours was doing really well, and you had been doing it less time than me, and I had all this time invested. So I don't know.
So, Mike, I equate, when people ask me about this stuff, I equate what's going on today with cryptocurrency and mining like Windows 95. In the Windows 95 days, you had an operating system.
I told my people like that, they'd be like, what is Windows 95? I wasn't born by then.
Yeah, my audience will know.
I'm just messing with you.
Good operating system, a lot of excitement around it, a lot of nerds involved in it. It was the first one to the masses. It was buggy, it was unsecure, and it was the wild, wild west of OS. I mean, there were crazy things going on.
Right.
I made a living off helping people install drivers on Windows 95 and Windows 98, right? So that's where the cryptocurrency community is today. This is crazy. Things don't work. Ken, I was just as I'm talking here, I tried reinstalling and the thing failed out on me, and so I am gonna go in and uninstall it properly. I think through the Windows uninstaller and try it again. No, so C program files storage a share is giving me problems. So I probably need to go in and delete that out. So that being said, this software is buggy, super buggy.
Is it buggy, or is it just throwing a fit because all of our antivirus says it's bad?
Well, there's that.
I don't know if it's too buggy.
I think
Storage A was super buggy before. You're totally right.
No, I still think it's buggy.
Remember how many the state table problem? Like it would saturate your state table on your router, and you would no longer have any room to do anything else. And all of a sudden your router would lock up and freeze. If you had the benefit of having a pfSense router with 4 gigs of storage, yeah, it didn't happen. But if you had a normal router of any kind, it locked up.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. It's buggy.
Well, like that error happened because it didn't shut off when it went to reinstall, it didn't shut off the service. So it was trying to install over files that were still active. Right, that's buggy. Like it should have, on a reinstall, it should be smart enough to know, hey, let me check the service first. Right, I mean, that's pretty basic, right? So I still think, this cryptocurrency stuff is so new, and we got a bunch of neckbeards doing this stuff that they don't listen. The reason NiceHash wallets got hacked, it was a big target, but it's a bunch of amateurs. Like that wallet was built by an amateur, right? These are Silicon Valley. These are 24-year-old Silicon Valley. The banking industry.
NiceHash was foreign, but I agree. Same thing.
Same
thing. Young, right? Like young, inexperienced. They're on the trend and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, this would never happen in the banking industry because they move slower. They are more careful. So the maturity in this community is not high enough for it to be mainstream. It's still not ready for mainstream. No. We still have a lot, and the blockchains are very secure, but the wallets are not. I mean, that's the weak link in all these things are the wallets. This is almost every major compromise that has happened
around the wallets. It's not the wallets, right? Like the wallets and the blockchain are secure. It's the programming around it, how you implement, so these things like NiceHash have to have code on the outside, a payment process that inputs that into the blockchain.
Right.
The thing I worry about, Jim, is that we and the media group these leaks, these hacks, whatever you want to categorize them, into general blockchain. The blockchain is 100% secure. Not 100%. Sorry, I shouldn't use that term.
No, you should never say that.
I'm gonna retract. The blockchain is secure. I'm just gonna use that term.
Yeah, it's pretty secure.
It's blanket secure. Now, if you mess up your code around it on how you implement with the blockchain, look at what happened with NiceHash. The blockchain didn't get hacked. They had an outside payment system that got hacked, and all of a sudden, all their funds got funneled into a different wallet. The blockchain never got hacked in that aspect. The blockchain is a very secure piece of technology that I can't put a percentage on it, and I can't talk openly. I want to say 0% of the computing power in the world can compete with right now. Like right now, if you were trying to hack a actual blockchain, it's very difficult to do unless you have more than 50% of the hashing power, which is hard to do. So if you take a blockchain that's actually at scale and mature, you need more than 50% of the hashing power to do anything to it. So these hacks were not around the blockchain. These hacks were not around cryptocurrency. These hacks were around these people had a honeypot that was outside of the blockchain that got hacked. That's what got hacked. And I worry that we're going to have this, hey, NiceHash got hacked. That means blockchain and Bitcoin is not secure. BS. That's 100% false, actually. If they had every single wallet individually accessed from NiceHash, if your wallet was completely separate and there was no interaction, but that's not possible with the platform they have. Like you have to mine, they have to transact between the wallet and the platform of their sales and their miners. Like it has to transact between each other. Those middle grounds are where this got hacked. So I really hate to see this, and it has already. And that's why I get so heated about it. Get blown up into blockchain's not secure. Yeah. No, it is secure. It's way more secure than anything you're running right now. Hands down, guaranteed. I can say that with full confidence. Blockchain is more secure than any general ledger system you're running. If you have scale, right? Like if you have the scale that a lot of these does. The blockchain that's not what got hacked here. So I don't know. Sorry, I go on rants.
Yeah.
But it just makes me mad because that's not what got hacked. It's not. The blockchain did not get hacked. This guy's VPN credentials, one of their engineers, they came out with a public statement today. His VPN credentials got hacked. Right. And an engineer got hacked, and they found out their payment system. And they said, oh, hey, look at this. We can send all these payments instead of to one wallet to another. And then they did that. Yeah. So blockchain is fine.
Just emptied them.
Actually still great. Everyone still love it. It's fantastic. Let's go with it. Let's go from there.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we've got I reinstalled storage. Let's see.
I love how in my rants you could reinstall software. That's how long and like terrible my rants are.
I love that
the host of the show can reinstall software.
Well, it doesn't take long.
In that time.
It doesn't take long. Ken, I love how I said calling these guys neckbeards. Probably not a nice thing to say, and I should probably retract that.
That's fine to say.
But Ken said like Andrew Luck style. That's a good analogy of a.
No, that's actually very, very true.
Yeah, he definitely could.
You turned me onto that phrase, but it's actually very true.
So, it is.
I am a neckbeard guy. If I had a beard, it would be a neckbeard. So I'm like, yeah, totally true.
It's not nice. I shouldn't say that. That's bad. Other Jim said
it's like saying that to a.
Oh,
you know what? We're not even going to go there.
Other Jim said the Windows 95 example may not be a good analogy. And I said, why? And he said, because I think cryptocurrency is like Beanie Babies. Yeah, there's Bitcoin is like, it's like Pet Rock or Beanie Babies or a little more value than that.
No.
And a little more helpful than that.
False.
No, I think it is.
Okay, why? Like Beanie Babies and Pet Rock were based on nothing new. They were a craze that everyone just thought.
Well, no, but from a craze standpoint, but
this isn't a craze. This isn't just a craze.
It is though.
No,
this part is
on nothing, on no foundation. This has blockchain behind it.
Yes, but there's no value at the value it's at now. There's nothing to support that.
Why
It
not?
should not be that
Wait,
high.
why? No, yes, there is. There is
No,
value.
It's all based on speculation.
No, it's not.
It's 100% speculation.
You have a lot of value in any blockchain. I mean, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum, which are two completely separate blockchains, you have a lot of value there.
Well, there's value, but
one takes away a lot of transactional time in.
Mike, it's not worth what it's at right now.
Why not?
It's because it's not. There's no fundamentals to support it.
I disagree.
No,
I completely disagree.
It cannot support this. You and I both know this is coming crashing down.
No, I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Why would it need to? You have this
current run up has no financials to support it. I'm not.
It doesn't need to.
Value.
Why does it need to? You have a currency. This is becoming a currency. This is how we start to value a currency that is not tied to any government, that is beyond borders, that has extremely low transactional time between transactions. Why do we need to put why are we trying to put a value on it that is based on and to go beyond that, what are you putting your transactional value on? Other stocks, other currencies? Are you putting on the US dollar? Like, why do we need to put there is no reason to explain that this can't go to 100K to $1 million and not be valuable.
And that's the problem. There's
Why?
no reason to explain. You just said it, right? This run up that we're having is pure speculation.
We've never seen an industry like this. You need to value it at some point. Exactly. It is emotional.
Yeah.
You need to value this. What is the value at and you and I have agreed that we will never see something like this in our lifetime again.
Yeah.
This is new. This is extremely new.
This run up that won't be
currency that is not fiat ever.
This is not sustainable though.
No.
This run up is not sustainable.
No, I disagree. I completely disagree.
We'll find out.
And so this is, there is a currency out there that is not fiat, and we need to find the value for it, and we haven't hit it yet. So you look at this, and there are people willing to buy and sell at that price. That means that is a value for that coin.
But so how is this? It's not.
Why not? There are people buying and selling, and there are not even the majority of people buying it.
And that's the problem, right? The problem is
up. People aren't buying yet.
No, it will go up until it goes down, right? It will go up until the people are given a reason not to trust it anymore. And then the money will flow out.
So where's the trust going to come out of? The security
I don't know.
Of it, which is more secure than the other technology?
It will be something completely irrational that will drive people away from this.
No. Exactly. That's what would have happened before. And this is what I talked about earlier. We need the average investor involved in this, because you're right. An irrational event caused this to go up and go down before. Yeah. So once we get the average investor involved, that doesn't happen. And we truly find
we still don't have the average.
So you might be right. Once we get the average investor, this might come down, right? Because right now we've got the high and the low people. So the average people coming in, but Jim, you can't argue with that. You've got people who are willing to buy and sell at the price.
But I've watched this happen like 7 or 8 times in my lifetime. I've watched this irrational. Okay, let's look at the .com bubble.
Because you're right. Because you're right in your argument. Because your argument stems from the fact that this might not be Bitcoin, right? This could be something else. Which, look at the value of Ethereum is $400 compared to $20,000. Okay, so the value might come down. What I'm saying is the value of a non-fiat currency right now, you can't determine. And so we've got to base it on factors we have. What are people willing to buy and sell cryptocurrency on? And you have Bitcoin, which is not based on any other value besides currency.
Why are people buying it today?
Future profit.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
That's speculation.
Yeah. No, I got it. I get that.
Always corrects. Always. It always corrects. It has never not corrected.
We have people who sell off projected value.
Every single bubble has corrected.
No, but look at this.
It's the nature of the market. It
It's a
has to
market.
correct.
We also have people who sell off future value. Look at me. I sold off future value. I didn't think it could go up any higher. I sold.
Yeah.
You have people who buy because they think it can go higher. They have people who sell because they can go lower. That's the value of the market.
Yeah, but we did it with hundreds of dollars or maybe thousands. There are people now doing
the Bitcoin market is millions of dollars, billions of dollars.
I know, but the you and I are not the ones that's going to cause this, right? That's exactly my point. It's the big money that will cause this because there's a futures,
the average investors.
There's a futures market coming, right? And there will be people who are going to bet against this. This is where it gets scary, right?
They've been losing their shorts.
No, I know.
It's already been out there. You can short Bitcoin right now.
No, yeah, but it's gonna correct. It has to correct. It's not this curve that we're seeing.
I am not.
Oh, it has to.
I'm not. No.
It has to.
My point was, I'm not arguing with you that it's going to correct. I'm not arguing that it's going to go down.
And it's going to correct.
I'm not arguing with you that it's going to go down to $4,000 a coin.
Right.
What I'm saying is, we have a true value right now on cryptocurrency. What people are willing to buy worth what people are willing to sell. And we don't truly have a value on non-fiat currency yet because the average market is not in there. We do not have the average investor invested like we do in the New York Stock Exchange on what the value of this cryptocurrency is. So right now, all you have to base it on is the leading currency, which, and this is an asterisk, bases their value on trading value of currency. You look at Ethereum, that's not their basis, right? Ethereum bases it on, hey, that is the gas used to supply their contracts. If you want to do a contractual based blockchain where you process DMV records, you use Ethereum, and Ethereum is the gas that provides you to process those contracts. Bitcoin bases themselves off the value of transacting value. Gosh, I'm starting to think about my words now. It's really hard to do that when you start to get into cryptocurrency. They are strictly a value for value currency. They don't offer any other service like Ethereum does. So we have to use that as an example, and it's going up right now. And I'm not saying it can't go down. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. If I would be saying that, I'd be throwing all my money into it, and I'm not. I'm not. So Jim, I don't know. I think we disagree on this, and I think that I see Bitcoin going up to 100K. I'll say it on this podcast, and we'll memorialize it in the post show on Patreon that this is going to go up to 100K value. But it's going to be an interesting ride getting up there. So,
I think it could. I don't think it. I mean, I think it could, and if it does, I don't think it can sustain it.
There's no need to sustain it, though, right? It's non-fiat. Like, what is the need to sustain? The need to sustain is turnover on the network. So you're
comparing it when you compare it to the US dollar, right? Because that's what it's judged against. That's what we judge it against. Because we can't.
Well, but the US dollar doesn't base their value off of, number one, turnover in the market. How many times is that same US dollar turned over, right? And what that judges if people are holding the US dollar for future profit, or if they are spending it in the market. Surprisingly, Bitcoin is very much on I thought Bitcoin, if you look at turnover, how much is that same Bitcoin turned over year after year? How much is that spent? You would think it would be a lot lower, people holding Bitcoin for future value. It's actually not turned over. It's not held as often as it's turned over. So I think our argument that these cryptocurrencies are being held for future value is invalid when you look at the turnover on the currency. And there's only a few people who are analyzing the turnover, but I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Well, the good news is we'll know. At some point, we'll know. It is or it's not. The dollar, almost all currency, right, is backed by the good faith and credit of the government that issues it. There's no real standard.
You don't have to believe in the US dollar. You just have to know that if you invest your US dollar in a bank, that they'll reimburse you if it goes to zero.
The dollar only works because people believe. That's the only reason the dollar works. It's a
But
fake
are you
system.
talking about for the average U.S. investor?
All I
have to know is that I have my money stored in a savings account that's FDIC insured. So meaning that if that bank goes to zero, that bank, not the U.S. dollar, if that bank goes to zero, I get my money back.
Yeah, but
it's insured.
Sure.
People hate blockchain because people hate cryptocurrency because it's not insured.
There's
no FDIC of Bitcoin.
I don't think people think, most normal people don't think about insurance.
Most people don't think about the value of the US dollar.
Right, because it works. Because it's a gigantic system that just works.
Exactly.
Right. That
we've established that Bitcoin
is
on the verge of that. Right? They're not there. It's only been years. It's been 4 years. It's nothing, right? It's not based on the years of the US currency, but
it's got a long way to go before it can be recognized that way. Long way to go.
Recognized as what?
Yeah. Oh, the power of US currency. True.
Yeah. Very true. No, I agree with that. And it's not Bitcoin. You and I have both agreed that it's not Bitcoin. But cryptocurrency is here to stay.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I am talking about when I'm talking about a correction, I am talking about Bitcoin. Like,
you're not talking about a market as a whole?
No, I am specifically talking about Bitcoin. Because today, Bitcoin is the one.
We should have specified that before. I'm thinking some form of cryptocurrency, and we've talked about this, whether BTC is not the winner.
When Bitcoin corrects, and it will correct,
there'll be some other cryptocurrency take its place, though.
Well, but
this is the future.
They will all correct, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's where I disagree.
No, they're all tied together right now.
Oh, they all are tied together. I agree. It's very true right now.
Because Bitcoin ties them all together.
You're saying Bitcoin crashes. There's not another
eventually
that takes its place.
Eventually. But in the short term.
I'm not talking about trying to make money every single second here. I'm talking about like in the futures. Like this is a big market that's going into the future that.
Oh yeah. But Mike, what I'm saying is what matters now for people, like what matters right now is what's going on with Bitcoin. Like the average consumer just sees that. And that worries me, right? That is a worrisome, that's in the short term when we think about it. Because, if it's, hey, I got 30 years left on the planet. I may see a time when it's mainstream, when these altcoins, this system is mainstream. It's going to take a while, right? And it depends on how hard Bitcoin crashes when it does crash. Like when it does, and it will, when it corrects.
It will because of work. I'll call that right now.
When it corrects, it'll be ugly. And it will, because today most people, it depends when it corrects, but because most people only know the system.
It isn't correct. It's going to shift to another currency, right?
No, I mean, there'll be a run. I think.
Look at NiceHash.
People there'll be a run on it.
People didn't run. People didn't take their money, sell their.
They can't
sell their. You can sell your GPUs. You can easily sell your GPUs,
but they can't run at this point. There's nothing.
You can sell your GPUs. That is a run on the NiceHash market, right? Like selling your GPUs is saying, I don't believe in the mining market anymore. I'm trading it out for US dollars. That is equivalent on the cryptocurrency of I don't believe in Bitcoin anymore. It's crashing. I'm trading out for US dollars. How do you do that in the mining industry? You sell your cards.
Well, it's too early. It's too early. It's too early to tell if that's going to have a.
We've seen scares. We've seen it go down to I don't know.
No, it's still it's way too early.
It is. I agree. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm making projections just like you are, which is fun to do when you can argue about it. So one thing I did want to address though is that other Jim said Mike's avenue investors will be blown away by program trading. I'll argue that okay. So if you want to say that every single investor in the US market, let's say the New York Stock Exchange, for example, is going to use program trading where every program does the same exact thing, the entire philosophy of the market falls away. You have a computer that runs it and no one else makes choices of their own, and the market either goes up and goes down and everyone falls and rises and falls in the same boat.
A good amount of the trading that goes on today is program trading.
It
could be the majority.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I have a system that I bought into it with the broker that I have that has some of those automatic things built into them, right? I mean, that's program trading.
I get that, but I'm saying like 100% of it. If the 100% of the market becomes program trading, what differentiates each program? Turns into
it's tough to compete. We know this on the stock market today, right? That it's tough for the individual not using any technology.
Totally.
Up,
100%
right?
True.
And I think that's what I just think that's what Jim's saying.
You can't switch the entire market over to automation.
If you're gonna today, I mean, I think right now.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't see how my cryptocurrency relates to automation in the U.S. stock exchange.
Well, you were talking about your average investors averaging out. I think it goes back to the comment that you were saying about needing the average investor to kind of to.
Oh, that's a good point. And other Jim, that's a great point. We don't even have the programs right now in cryptocurrency. Look at the stock exchange and the sophistication of investing and what you can do, and look at what you can do in investing in cryptocurrency, which is I can buy, sell on my own. Yeah, there may be a few programs, there may be a few funds that do cryptocurrency, and I know there are a few funds that do cryptocurrency. You are not as advanced as the U.S. market, though. So you're totally right. Maybe my algorithm does get blown away if the cryptocurrency market becomes as sophisticated as the United States stock exchange market.
The money right now is in the money right now in Bitcoin isn't Bitcoin. It's trading.
No, it's turnover, dude. They're turning over.
It's the same.
If you look at the values, it's turning over. People are spending Bitcoin on things that are not cashing out.
Like what?
No, they don't. It's just turnover. They're looking at the market overall at turnover of the currency, just like they would at the U.S. market of the U.S. dollar and how much it turns over. Yes, it's not as much as the U.S. dollar, but that's turning over. People are transacting with Bitcoin.
Yeah, but that's not where there's money there. Don't get me wrong. In this run up, there's money, but the real money is in the delta between these coins.
That's not what they're seeing.
Well, it's what's going to.
I'll find the articles so I can put them in the show notes.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, in a micro environment right now, that.
If you're looking at just you and me.
Yeah, in a micro environment right now, that may be true, but when we think overall, I mean, dude, there is so much money to be made in the micro movements of these smaller coins than there will ever be in Bitcoin. I mean, there is going to be some amazing movements that happen to some of these coins that are, well, let's just say this. In the last year, Ethereum let's take the last week out because that's been a little crazy on Bitcoin. Yeah,
the last week has been absurd.
Ethereum has a better run up than Bitcoin.
Oh, true. In the last year, you look at Ethereum, its value is insane.
Right? Just in a year. Yeah. So it's I think, you go back, we'll go all the way back to the beginning. I think as you look at a stock, listen to me, as you look at a coin like Saya, that has amazing upside potential in it. And it
does, but Saya is not meant to be a transacting coin.
No, I know. But I'm just saying in this market with these kinds of coins.
So you're looking at making money, not at I agree with you.
I mean, it doubled.
This is where you and I totally agree.
Yeah. It doubled. Saya doubled the other day in 6 hours.
You want to look at trying to make your value in your coin, your investment. Look at what actually offers a value to society. Jim and I are completely dismissing Bitcoin. Like, okay, yeah, it's transacting value. Who knows where that goes? Let's look at what actually has a technology behind it, like Saya, which is file transfer on the blockchain. That has value that could grow. Bitcoin is transacting value on I don't know how to describe it, value for value basis, right? There's no underlying technology that makes that irreplaceable from any other cryptocurrency that offers value for value. Whereas Saya, Storj, all these other ones say, hey, we have actually an underlying technology that makes our coin valuable. Bitcoin could fork at any moment. Bitcoin could drop at any moment. Saya says, okay, do you believe in our technology? Yes or no. Bitcoin says, do you believe in us as a transacting platform? Yes or no.
And Mike, what you just said about forking is another weird part of this that I think plays a factor in when you think about faith and trust. I think because there's an ability to fork, and I asked Edward this when we had him on the last time, like, okay, so someone forks, they go to Bitcoin Gold, and that 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 didn't work, but Bitcoin Cash did. And how did we decide that? Who was most popular in the social networks for those people following the people who did the forks? That's a little scary. Like a financial system based on popularity of the person who's making the fork. That's, I mean, call it what it is, but that can be a little scary. I mean, that's not sound financial, you know?
No, I totally agree. Forks are the one item on crypto that really scare me.
Yeah. You got all of a sudden am I scratchy to you on audio?
You are not scratchy to me. Am I scratchy to you?
All of a sudden you just got real tinny.
Oh,
on
weird.
your mic.
Hopefully that's not to everyone else.
Maybe.
Other Jim says that I'm making a straw man of the average investor. I don't think I am. Straw man would imply that the average investor is kind of who we blame for certain things. The average investor is what brings the value. You can always have like really high end people, really low end people who bring the value up and down. But your average investor, your average person, if you look at 10 people and you say, what is the value of this calf? I'm selling a cow. The average person is probably right around where the price is going to settle at, because you're going to have one person who's offered $10, the low end offered 1. The guy who's offering 5 is probably going to get it because no one's going to accept the 1 or the 10. So I don't think I'm offering a straw man investor strategy. I'm just saying that you're going to, once you introduce the average investor, which we don't have in cryptocurrency, you're going to start to see the true value. Yeah. We have not seen the true value yet. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. We don't know what the true value is yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna let these guys go because you're scratchy and
sorry about that.
No, not a big. We probably talked long enough. It's midnight in the Eastern time zone. Ooh, we had somebody had left us. Somebody had left me a message over on Spreaker, but I didn't see it. Guys, thanks for coming out. We're gonna let you go. And have a good night. We'll see you back next time.